Absolutely. Personality. It's like, dang, we could be very close, very good friends, so on and so on. Some people don't find out until after, but definitely personality. Rec was one of the questions that I started with, and
I don't trust Trey.
Black Dave
I
and
do
I was
not
talking.
trust Trey.
Black Dave and I were talking about it, but and Mr. Bennett already went. I don't know if you heard, but what is the definition of family to you?
I believe in regards to family, that is a decision. I have a bunch of blood relatives. Like anyone who knows my family upbringing, we're either in the medical profession at this point, entrepreneurship, or we're gangsters. Like very good at all of those, or police, and we're very good at all of those things. So as you grow up and mature, that definition of family actually gets tested because like you could end up in some mess in my family based on if you navigate based on blood tie versus where we're actually going. So I've told everybody straight up, like with starting with me, we're retconning my family. Like the definition of that's changing. You're either on board or you're out. And if you're out, you're a dead body. So I do not navigate in that fashion just because they're going based on blood tie. Some of our relatives suck that we are blood related to. They are cancer. They are terrible people. Some of y'all running around harboring terrorists, demons, and hyenas in your house. And until we make a complete divestment from that element, which holds us back as a people, which holds us back as a family, until we're willing to cut off that cancer, we're not going to be able to move forward. And I refuse to not move forward. The way that I look at this, you can believe what you want. I'm of the partial belief with the things that I've seen that we might be in a simulation. And even if we're not, I still think that we were placed here to win. So when I log out, I'm logging out having accomplished something. And I'm not going to let anybody hold me back or stand in my way on that journey.
So
and I don't think any... Oh, go ahead.
So you taking Fredo out like that. You wouldn't have waited that long. From like Michael, Fredo's got to go.
I'm like, the last thing you want to be is in between me and my goals, man. Like that's a bad spot.
Oh man, you would have canceled Fredo a long time ago, man. Wow.
Like we can't.
I mean, they gotta be the person that say the most silent thing loud. Like, don't want to say try to be politically correct, but it was like school be politically correct. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
family sucks.
It is. I mean, it's not that they suck. There's some people in the family that just aren't on board or aren't. There's some old ways that we used to do things that we just can't do things anymore. You know, like after a certain point, we're supposed to be evolving as people all the time. And I also believe that if you're not constantly growing, that you are dying. And I don't want to hang around a bunch of dead people personally. Like I'm not the one who's going to be kicking it with the zombies. And as you're growing as a person, and if you're developing as a family, it's not like I'm keeping stuff close to the hip. Like I share everything that I know with everybody. I mean, literally, I put my stuff out for strangers on the internet. So if I'm not holding people back or I'm not trying to hide from you how to get it, and I'm giving you the game and you're choosing to not accept it, that is also a decision. And you gotta suffer the natural consequences of that. Like you don't, in no other culture do you see the winners of that culture hanging out with, wanting to be next to, wanting to co-sign the trash of that culture.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, because like I'm not a believer that I think the black culture died a while ago, but me personally with my family, I navigate with people based on character. And like, if you don't have the character to be in my presence, then you're just not going to be in my presence. And it's that simple.
Now that dying off, would you, because I hear you say culture, I just throw this out. And hey, what's up, Trey? Welcome to the show tonight. A question, and is it about ideologies that differ over time that caused the break? Or is it that they really didn't follow the one, like when you say, hey, if you're not you, but if you're not really down with what I'm talking about, where I'm trying to grow and what I'm trying to do, then you cut off. So is it the difference in ideologies, or is it that this larger culture, this group of people are so lost and I don't want to be part of that?
I'd say both, because generally speaking, if you were to put most of the people on this panel with what is portrayed, well, the people that are screaming the loudest within the group of people that look like we do, none of us fit. We are outliers.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that screams that obviously there's some sort of branching that's gone on. And this normally happens within the family. Like if you're the person who does everything that is apparently just for white people,
Mm-hmm.
you are of the new culture. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's a new testament. It's a new chapter. It's an evolution of our people. And the old guard doesn't like that because it's change.
Right.
But it's a change that makes us able to compete on a global
Mm-hmm.
scale. Because we can't be looking at this as though we're just competing within this bubble known as the US, because that bubble's getting ready to pop. Like we about to be out here with everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And once we hit that global scale, no one's going to care about what happened to your grandparents. No one's going to care about what you perceive has happened to you. It's
Mhm.
just a matter of kill or be killed, feast or famine.
Mhm.
And those of us who are evolving are not going to be in the famine camp. It's just what it is. Those who are refusing, I mean, you can't be a world victim like that. Like we don't have it the worst in the world. Like it's just
Right.
no one's going to care. No
Right.
one's going to care.
Right. Okay. All right. Trey, what's up?
Can I just go back to one thing? Reckless said you had said
Mhm.
something about. I just forgot what you said. Something to the effect of how in other we're the only culture where we allow, I guess, the weakest. I'm totally paraphrasing what you said, but
We're the only culture that
Allowed the winners.
that the winners try to co-sign and make excuses for and shelter the losers of their culture. Like
see,
if you're in another,
my only pushback on that is I know with, again, this might be changing as well. So I know with a lot of like aristocratic families, like the Kennedys, for example, right?
Yeah.
Like they painted themselves as this perfect immigrant story, this American family, but then they got all these skeletons, like siblings who were lobotomized. They got,
It's not skeleton. It's called quips.
Well, I'm just saying, but it seemed like with a lot of things that are public now, it's not like these aristocratic families and structures didn't have them. It's just they just hid them. They still took care of them. They, they were. You just never heard about them because they had the resources to put them in a, either put them in a home somewhere, or they had the facilities to take care of them there and get them, the attention that they needed. They were not seldom seen. But they were there, and they felt, I guess, some sort of obligation or responsibility to still care for these people because, again, they were still part of their clan. But if they didn't certainly fit the public image that they wanted, they were put in the background. And I thought that was the case with a lot of these type of families and whatnot. But
so I would say that it's an apples and oranges comparison when you're comparing someone with a legitimized mental disorder to these demons and hyenas that are running out in the streets murdering people and each other.
But even with, like, say, if the son of one of those aristocrats got a DUI, or he raped somebody, or whatever it was, they had the resources to bury it. Like the person was never disowned or whatever. They again in those structures, and I think Black Man CBN was talking about it earlier. It's like for a lot of people, the idea is not to wreck the narrative that we're portraying. So we're just going to put this over here. You're not going to be disowned. You're not going to be, but you're not. You're going to be like Fredo. You're going to be the guy who picks up people from the airport and whatnot and drops them off. But no, you are not going to have a prominent role in the family. You're not going to be making decisions, but you're still family, and you'll still be taken care of. And that famous line from Fredo talking about, look, I'm the older brother and you're taking care of me, but that's who you are because you're not that guy. So I think in some of these families there is still that connection to their blood relatives, but they're not going to have a prominent place as far as the decision making or how the family moves forward. That for me, that was like the only thing I.
Okay. All right. I actually, you know what? That does make sense. And the one thing that I will say to that is we don't have the privilege or the numbers to do that right now.
That is true. That is true.
That's the issue. There aren't enough of us, and there aren't enough of us within our said community that are navigating like we are. That's the problem. So like we have to, like, for us, because this is the difference between like an adult that has a bacterial infection and a baby. We are a baby with a bacterial infection, which means that we got to get whatever's hurting us, we got to get it off, we got to get it removed, we got to get it up out of here, or the whole organism perishes. And what we have done historically, and what we are still currently doing now, is we are trying to move forward with the sickness versus curing the sickness. And it's extrapolating, because the bad element is outbreeding the good element. So we're losing on a numbers game, and those numbers, they're loud. That's the issue. Under most circumstances, when you look at other cultures where they're like, hey, these people are going to fall to the back, and these people aren't going to have like a say, and like they're not getting the spotlight, they're normally also quiet. For us, it's inverted. Those of us who are sitting out here having these conversations, trying to build and be productive, reaching as many people as we can. And I'm all about helping those who want to improve themselves. I don't want that to be misconstrued. But those who are choosing not to are no good to the rest of us. They're a hindrance to the rest of us. They are a threat to the rest of us. They will eventually kill the rest of us because they don't want to see us move forward. I grew up with a stepfather who beat me all the time. He's the reason that I am as strong as I am to this day. Because he couldn't deal with the fact that I could navigate with cultures that he couldn't. And they accepted me. For no other reason. Every opportunity he got to put hands on me did. That's what I'm saying. Those people that carry that mindset, that don't want to move forward, are cancerous. They're cancerous to the children. They are replicating themselves. And he did everything in his power to replicate himself in me. And like, I did take a bunch of that fire. I put it towards different purposes. And not everybody is that strong to come through that and not absorb that hatred, because I could have got the beatings to stop if I would have just accepted the rhetoric that he wanted to shove down my throat, that I was a victim. Everybody else hated us. And I lived in a world that every white person that I interacted with was my enemy. And I just refused to accept it, and I took the beatings.
Which would have been led to hostility, resentments, and staying quiet, and an estrangement, like staying away.
Yeah. So, I mean, Trey, these are the things. So go ahead, Trey. What's up, man? How are you doing, Trey?
What's up, fellas?
Hello, welcome to the panel. Trey, Alexis, right? And JT's in the house. Welcome, everyone. We were just talking about what family is. And so Trey's turn here, and then we'll do some intros right after. What's going on, Trey?
Before I spoke on that, I wanted to say to Mr. Bennett, listen, I've had the, and I'll say unfortunate opportunity to arrest a senator and a congressman's son for DUI, and daughters for indecent exposure, and some other things. And when it comes to these influential people in DC, it's incredible how quickly they can make things go away. Right? And even when they're dead to rights, even when, a senator's son is stumbling out of a car with beer bottles at his floor, he's dead to rights. And if any other normal person, would be suffering a DUI, and he's walking out the front door with his attorneys and his parents. What I've noticed is that they're very image conscious. It's always about what it makes the family look like.
Absolutely.
And even if they have to protect the family at the expense of the idiot in the family, they'll do it. You know what I mean? They'll do it. And I think a lot of those aristocratic families, they look at it like, listen, we can't have him or her tarnish the family name because it's money. You know what I mean? Like, if we let that happen, we're going to lose out on power. We're going to lose out on money. So I just want to throw that out there from that aspect. Listen, family's always an interesting word to me, right? Because I am probably closest with the guys that I grew up with, right? I've had the same friends we're actually going to be celebrating 30 years of friendship this year. I've known the same guy since 1993, since I moved in the neighborhood. We've been friends ever since. The first day I went down there and played basketball with him. We've been friends ever since. And we've been through marriages, divorces. I've been a rider, hopped in the car, drove down to Georgia to go get one of their sons. You know what I mean? Like, we've been through it. I would consider them family, right? I've had some family members who are blood. You know, we're related. See them every holiday. Can't stand them, don't talk to them, right? They're horrible people. I've had a cousin who's got 4 kids by 3 different men. And all the kids have special needs. And she's robbed my grandmother. I've had to pull up on her on duty in uniform to give her some act right. And this is my uncle's daughter. Like, this is blood, first cousin. You know what I mean? I've had to do that. So when I look at family, I think I heard somebody say somebody say it was a choice. You know what I mean? Somebody you pick. You know what I mean? And these people are they're in your life because they want to be in your life, right? They want to be there. They want to do right by you, right? They respect you. They're loyal to you. You know what I mean? And I've always found that it's always been my homeboys. I can rely on any of us 5 of us. I can rely on them. I can call them up and say, hey, look, I got this and this going on. You know, I've had times where I've had to go to work. Hey, can I drop my son off real quick? And, you know, my mom will pick him up or somebody pick him. Yeah, no problem. You know what I mean? They've always been there. It's hard. To me, it sucks because I feel like it shouldn't be that way. I feel like the people that I share DNA with, you know what I mean, should be more influent. You know, should be there, but it just hasn't. Not for me. I do know some families that are extremely tight like that, but for me, it hasn't been that way. But I was talking to y'all about my cousin, and like, she really is the coolest person I know. Like, seriously, all jokes aside. And I told her all the time, if I could do that Little Mermaid thing where I take your person out of you and go put it in, like, if I could take that out of you and go put it in, you know, the woman, I would be married tomorrow because she's just that dope of a person. But she's actually blood. You know what I mean? She's actually blood, and we get along. We've always been tight. We actually call each other brother and sister because we just been tight. You know what I mean?
Did you know she was your cousin? I mean, at first, like, you already knew she was your cousin?
Yeah,
she's
the older sister of the cousin I was talking about.
Okay.
So, okay. But we've always been tight. We're only 4 months apart, so we've always been tight. No, that cousin I was talking about at the wedding, I did not know she was my cousin. I saw her from behind first, and I was like, who is that?
Like I said, right. You and black male are in the same spot.
Oh, man, I was like, damn, who is that? And my mother like leaned over. I'll never forget it because she leaned over. She had the glass of champagne in her hand. She goes, "That's your cousin, fool. Stop it." And I'm like, oh, I mean, when I say I was sick, I was literally sick. Like, ugh. Like, I'm over here, you know what I mean, oogling and googling over my cousin.
You say, what?
Because, you know, when you go to these weddings, you don't know everybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's right.
It's the same thing with family reunions. Like, my great grandmother had 12 kids. We go to these family reunions. I'm like, who are you? Who are you related to? Because my grandmother's the youngest of the 12. So
if they don't have this T-shirt on, hey,
man. So that's what they started doing.
No, you can't go by T-shirt.
But they started color coding. So depending on, I'm dead serious.
I love
depending
that.
on who you were the descendant of in that tree, you had to wear a certain color.
Oh, yeah, because you come from a different branch, right?
From the branch. So that's the way we knew who you were. And if you didn't have any of those colors, we knew you weren't related. You were fair game at that point. But no, I mean, seriously, man.
Hold on. Time out. What if they took off the color on purpose?
Huh?
What if they took off the color
switch it up
on purpose?
Switch it up.
Yeah, because you had to order it before.
Like, why you should
actually have the shirt ordered before you go. like, you know, give me 5 shirts and wear.
You get you know, like, again, it's 12, so we gave 12 different colors, and then we all had the same shirt on. It was just a different color. You know what I mean? But yeah, we haven't had a family reunion in 10 years now. So
oh yeah,
that's
us too.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there. But as far as family is concerned, man, it's, you know, I am much tighter with people that I don't share DNA with, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But I am very happy, and I'm blessed that I have them in my life because, like I said, me and my boys, we've been through it. We've been through it. I had battles and fits with depression. You know, it was my boys that came to my house It wasn't my family. It was my boys that came to my house, man. We got you. Don't worry about it. We're gonna uplift you. You know what I mean? And I was going through it. Depression was kicking my ass, and that was right around the time where I found out that the son that I was raising wasn't mine, and I was hurting. I was hurting bad.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the worst lie to ever do. That's the worst
literally
thing you can
the
ever do.
worst nightmare. The worst, dude. I'm sorry you had to even go through that, man. That's crazy.
And I think my boys was there because they could feel it. They understood. They knew what I was going through. They could feel that pain. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, Trey, question, and we'll get more into it later about chosen, because when people talk about their partners, their friends, their close people, I mean, I think there's a level of grooming each other, like introduction and get to know each other, and we have some shared things we like, and we really grow and build this relationship. But I don't know if that same time, energy, and build happens with family, because if it's default, my sister is my sister versus that's my boy or this is my home girl, and we work to develop this relationship. Do you think that plays a role in the difference when you say, I'm a blood family, they can kick rocks, but people over here, do you think if you put that same, not you, but if we put that same energy into that person, into our family, would it still be that difference?
Yeah, I mean, I know I absolutely agree with you, Doc. And the reason, one of the things I can say is because I spent more time with my boys. I hung out with them every day. You know what I mean? Every day we rode bikes together. We played basketball. I spent time with them. I was with them all the time. So the connection obviously is there. I spent more time with my boys than I did with my sister. Me and my sister honestly didn't get as close as we are until after we basically had a fight. We was literally throwing hands. That's when we got tighter because we had to come back together. Yeah, it was a long night, but we had to come back together and sit down, and then we actually started spending more time together, and then we got tighter because growing up, I'm 4 years older than her, so growing up, we didn't, huh?
Who won the fight?
She won. I'm not gonna do that.
Thanks for being honest.
I mean, come on, man. I could have crushed her. I was prime military days too. It's not
right.
No, I gotta let her win that fight.
Right.
But anyway,
all right. Well, cool. Anyway, and I'll come back to it, but I really want to highlight.
Yeah.
When we talk about blood, should be automatic. So my friendship that I established and we developed together, then some emergency comes up or whatever. My expectations of blood. I mean, it's easy for a person to get disappointed if the blood folks don't respond the same way as these people. But these people, that relationship was developed. So we'll get more to it in a bit, but because I think that's interesting in how we place expectations on the blood family, and that's what makes it blood thick water, right? So thank you for answering. And we have Alexis in the house, JT, and the beautiful animated. How are you guys doing? Whoever just wants to check in on how you're doing, and then the question that we're asking is, what does family mean to you? For those who are in the chat, welcome to Talk That Talk Tuesday. As you can see, Black Man Unfiltered is not here tonight, as we were saying earlier. He is dealing with family loss. So definitely we want to shoot out a prayer to him. If you know him personally, have his contact information, please send a shout out. I'm sure he would appreciate that. And so we're filling in tonight, here to have lots of fun, enjoy the conversation, and we'll take it from there. So beautiful animated JT and Alexis. Alexis was here first of that group. So how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. It ain't gonna help none. So, but I'm all right.
Okay. Okay. What do you think? What do you consider family to be?
Even when it comes to when people say blood family, I think people say that mention the blood part as in a way to identify closeness, and so I would identify in the same that I think family is anyone that is very close to me, that I could depend on, that I've, been around for years plus. That's how I think about family. And I just wanted to, because I can't remember who said something about earlier, how they're closer, or it seems like they're closer with people that they just consider friends than their blood. I think it was Trey, maybe. Mm-hmm. Me, because I feel like not that I feel like it is biblical, and he states it that he will give you a friend closer than a brother. So to me, it's not a surprise when I have people that's closer to me than my own family or people that I consider family, you know. So I don't. I was my dad, who I call my dad. He's not my biological father, but when I came out, that was the man there with balloons and bears and all that stuff when I came out. So that's been my daddy. I didn't find out he wasn't my actual blood dad until I was like 9. And it was so funny because we were in Kansas City. We had moved from Texas to Kansas City, and we were in some office. I can't remember for what, but my mom was there, and the lady asked, she was like, okay, is he the father of all 3 children? And I'm sitting there next to my mom, like, and she's like, no. And I looked at my mom, like, and she didn't even look at me. I was just standing there like, what? That's how I found out that he wasn't my, and I don't even think they would have ever said anything. I don't have his last name or nothing like that, and I didn't put it together, especially at 9. But that's my dad, and you can't tell him nothing different. He don't say I got 2 daughters and a stepdaughter. He say I got 3 daughters, and I am his daughter. So, and it's so funny because I hit up Black Man, and I was like, that's so funny you having. He put up this stream like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I had just got into it with that, my dad's side of the family, one of his nieces, and she brought up, she was like, you ain't even blood family. And I'm like, oh, wow, like, I'm about to be 37. I know she's in her 30s. Why you bringing up stuff that we all kind of knew?
That's not even 30s? A read.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Like, stupid. Like, it's not even a read. Shut up.
Right. And everybody in the chat, because it's, and that's another thing. So, with death brings a lot of division, especially in family. Our grandmother had died in 2019, and ever since she died, all the family has been at odds. And I'm just like, that is so crazy that he had put this stream up when we had just. I was like, man, but she was mad, and I told her, she was like, well, you ain't my blood cousin. And I was like, yo, daddy love me though. Because he do. Right, he do. Right. He call me his niece. He don't be like, oh, my step niece. He call me his niece.
Right. Nice. All right. JT, what's going on? Man? What's good with you?
Oh man, I'm here. It's Tuesday. You know what it is.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. When it comes down to family, for me, I think I was always just, the way I came up with on like on my father's side and on my mother's side, they were married so much where there was really no one talking about what side of the family or something like that. Yeah. And it's kind of like when they got married, it was just like the family is the family. They were already in the same, people on my mother's side was in the same neighborhood as people on my father's side. And with me and my cousins, the ones that was my age, close to my age, we were raised with each other. We did a lot of things, and it was one of the reasons was because it was the elders, So my grandmother, on my mother's side, her and her siblings, they had a huge family. So when we had holidays, or even it could have been a wedding or a funeral, whatever it is. The way that the family got together, it was just like everybody just fell in place. It was like the ladies of the family, the elder ladies of the family, they got everybody to do whatever it was they needed them to do. If we did a family reunion, pretty much everyone were brought together, I think, by everybody. It wasn't just the elders, because I remember with my cousins, I had cousins. I used to love being over their house. I used to love going over there. I used to love being with them. And so when we got older, even though I was gone at 18, when I came back, I couldn't wait to be around them still. I had a cousin that you wouldn't have thought that we were first cousin. You would have thought that we were just good friends because we were around each other every day. He went to one school, I went to another school, but after school, we always find a way to get together. We even had jobs together. It was like we had a dance group together. It was just a lot of things we did. as we got older, well, not me and him, he was taken away from us at the age of 18. But that was like my best friend that happened to be my cousin. And I had a couple other cousins like that, but we were all close together. But as we got older, it changed. And I think it changed because of, the pressures of the world. The things that we got going on right now is really, really bad because our kids don't know each other. So it comes down to family. I understand that right now it's really bad for family members, but I think it's a sad thing that if we can sit back and we can talk more negative about our family members or how we deal with our family members than we can with the effort of being at least close enough with our family members that at least once or twice out of the year we can all see each other. But it's just at a point now that I think in our family we probably hate each other more than we just are, kosher with each other. And it's just I can't figure it out myself. I can come up with a couple of things, it's like now I got family members that I just don't want to be around them because they live dangerous lives. It's just that simple. They, when you come around them, you see they probably alcoholics or drug addicts. They've been doing the same thing. Then you got the younger groups that are probably scammers and probably, they street people and stuff like that. That's not my life. I'm never going to be around those people like that. When I see them though, I love them. I still give them a hug, but we ain't really got too much to talk about after that.
Right. And they're blood related?
Blood related. Yeah.
So if they call you at 2 in the afternoon, say, hey man, we gotta go run over here. You're the only sober driver. You blood, man. We want you to drive for us. Yeah,
they know not to talk to me like that. Everybody in my family knows not to talk to me. I'm just not that dude. But I get what you're saying. It's been families that got each other in a whole lot of trouble.
Got to do
right.
Yeah, even though it's blood, I don't.
Turner.
Even when I try to hold a reverence for him, it's just life would not allow that for me to do it. I can love him from afar. At the end of the day, we just never gonna see each other. We just had a issue at my father's funeral with someone I considered to be my sister, and she went out and said she was gonna show her ass or whatever. I didn't get mad or anything. I was hurt. I was mad, but my whole thing was you can go back to where you came from. I don't care if I ever see you again. And I don't feel sad about it because of what she represented. She represented at that time destruction. I don't need to be around anybody that represents that. And I have no problem with saying you can go over there and I don't ever gotta see you again. I have no problem with it. And this is my first cousin.
And earlier Reckless was hinting towards that, like, hey, if you're not, our values, our whatever is, if you're over here, I'm not trying to be part of that. And so I was talking about ideologies, if that plays a role. You guys remember Bernie Mac when he said the joke about the little kid in the house? He's special, right? And at a certain time, they would just say one of the GAY kids in the house. But now with our current culture and society and all the conversation about kids changing and stuff, so pending where you land for that, I mean, that's like a whole disconnect from family. Whereas before it was like, oh yeah, that's so and so, but now it's a total disconnect based on these ideologies. Yeah. So that definitely plays a role. All right. Absolutely. Thank you. Beautiful animated, welcome. And after you go, Black Dave, if you would cue that, not the first video, but the last one I talked to you about. But all right, so what's up, beautiful animated? What's going on in your world?
Been dealing with some anxiety and stuff like that. So we're talking about family, and
yes, ma'am. What's it mean to you? What does family mean to you? Blood is thicker than water.
Oh, that's bullshit. For one thing, okay, so if you want to go that route, blood is thicker than water. First of all, that's not even the right statement. You know what I'm saying? Blood is thicker than the covenant. It's a covenant.
Okay.
Right? And that's just saying that we're blood related.
Right.
But our relationship doesn't have to mean anything just because we're blood. That doesn't have anything to do. That's outside of a relationship. Because the thing is, when you can pick your family. Like I picked my sister in high school, you know. So I became the other daughter. Her dad would literally take us to the stores and stuff like that, and he's like, "These are my daughters." So my child became his granddaughter. You know, just that's how we rolled.
Does that contribute to all those branches? Right, because now it's a Johnson and they're related to the Wilsons, and because we chose these different family members and invited them in.
It's the branches I care about.
Mm-hmm.
There's branches there that I don't give a damn about.
Mm-hmm.
They can kiss all of my ass.
Oh, one cheek or both cheeks? Just wow,
the whole of it.
Yeah, all of it. But I guess the question goes back to what I was asking about JT. But it's blood, and I'm being silly, facetious. Yeah. But when I say it's blood, though, isn't that like an automatic default duty and responsibility to still love and nurture that side of your family?
So I had an older cousin because for my generation, I'm one of the later borns. It's only like 3 of us who are 10, 15 years away from our cousins in our generation. And so one of the older cousins, when I became an adult, had my own kids and stuff like that, he thought that he could kiss me in the mouth and stuff. Like try to French kiss me. What am I supposed to do with that? He don't mean shit to me. Go somewhere and die.
Yeah.
So yeah. So blood don't mean shit. It's how you you treat me and how I treat you.
So so challenge.
Tucker would say, "Damn." I'll do a quick Tucker right there. You see the voice?
Yeah. Damn. Right. But so another challenge. I think that's fair to say about anyone trying to put their lips on you if you didn't invite it, right? No consent, don't know you like that, blah blah blah. Anyone. So do we then give grace if they're family? You fucked up, you made a mistake, if you call it that a mistake, right?
He's been around me my whole life.
No, you throw punch him.
My whole life.
Right? You throw punch him and then forgive.
His cousin. Huh?
Do you throw punch and forgive? Not forgive the act, but with your blood.
Well, I wanted to, I wanted to take care of it, but I always let my mom handle certain things and stuff like that, especially back then, because I don't give a fuck about how you take what I say and this, that, and the other. I don't care. So I gave it to my mom to handle because I don't know how she wanted to handle it, but she wasn't too far off from how I felt. She's like, you come back here. Bang, bang.
Yeah.
I don't want you around my child. I don't want you around my grandchild. All that stuff.
Can I throw out something real quick?
Yeah.
Hey, so y'all got the picture up from the Godfather movie, and was it Sonny's half son and Michael's daughter? They was kissing. They was cousins, beautiful animated. They actually do that type of stuff.
And look, even from a biblical perspective, there's no man that there's nothing in the Bible says you cannot marry your first cousin. That is not in the Bible. So
you're not getting no idea right now.
It may not be in the Bible, but
I'm just saying because a lot of people where that comes from, that you can't marry your cousin. And again, a lot of us just come from that tradition, and I'm saying it's not there. I don't know when it got into the culture to say, well, you can't do this, but it's not from that source. I'm just saying, I'm only saying that because a lot of us come from that tradition.
I'm interjecting.
I know what you're saying.
Hang on, y'all. We're not going to act like Alexis didn't just drop a Godfather analogy. Like,
Thank you.
Just happened.
Facts.
No, but I'm
That's
backing it up.
No,
I'm saying I'm backing up because
a woman just dropped the Godfather analogy. That needs to be
no, she did. Look, first, listen, I talked Fredo first. Hang on, I started the show talking with the Fredo reference, so I brought that in first.
Right.
No, like when you it doesn't have to be in the Bible as far as cousins marrying each other and stuff like that. What you got to think about there is the genetics, because the closer we are in relationship,
there isn't any. The genetic piece, if you marry a sibling, that's where the genetic piece comes in.
Well, I thought it was sibling.
No, it's your siblings is where the genetic stuff. That's where you get the
the strong mandibles.
I don't need nobody popping out to
You end up with mandibles.
No, that's from your siblings, not your cousins.
I mean,
so again, I still
idea.
I still challenge the group to, if there wasn't a violation to your personal views, values, ideologies, what crosses that boundary between a blood-related person? How come we can wake up for a friend at 2 a.m. to go help change a tire? How come we can borrow money to someone who we know is not trustworthy? How can we do all these things? But what happened to the blood relation?
I think
where is that boundary?
If they're not giving you the same attention as your friend,
then
they haven't earned it.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I think it's connection. But
who frames the connection? I think a lot of this comes from, and again, going back to something that Reckless just said early on, which for the most part, I agree with your prognosis and way forward, but it still speaks to the trauma, because I think a lot of what we're seeing here is that, that those kind of responsibilities, it's taught. It's passed on. The family, the elders, the OGs are supposed to create that environment that says blood is thicker than water. Or look, if it's your relative, you can't say no to a relative. Your friends or whatever, they can come and go. But family, you always take care of. I mean, that's something that's built into you. That's something you be disciplined for. If you put a friend before a relative, if your brother got into a fight, your brother could be a knucklehead, and your brother got into a fight. If you didn't help your brother in the fight, regardless of who was there, even if it was a friend of yours, if you didn't defend your brother, you were going to get it hard when you got home.
Right.
Because you like I said, y'all can fight like cats and dogs. Y'all can do whatever, but you don't let anyone come in the midst of family. So that was something that was taught and passed on for a long time. At what point did we lose that sense of you protect the family above all else, even if you had dysfunction? I don't know when that got lost, but that was certainly something that I still remember. That you came home, your brother got beat up, and you were there. Oh, you were going to get it really bad.
Let's talk about it.
That come from the top, not from the bottom. I'm saying that right now. Yes, I come from a cultural background, right? But I see other prominent family who hold on to the foundation to the point whereby everyone is put in check. There's some people who are given the foundation. When time for them to lead it, they say, screw it, I'll do what I want to do. I can kill less. You don't have to check me. And when that happened, everything collapsed.
I think
about it. They use the royal family. Perfect example. How in the world you got a son who was caught in the Jeffrey Einstein scandal, and you trying to cover up, but now the brother come in, he's like, nah, I'm taking you off. You don't belong here. You know what I'm saying? If the one who don't own the structure in place, everything fall apart. So there are a lot of prominent families who have that culture, that have that strong value system. It's just that wasn't properly maintained by the next generation. The society, screw it, we do what we want. And when that happens, everything fall apart down the line. It's never from the bottom, it's from the top.
Yeah.
But I can say this though. I think from Mr. Bennett's point, when he asks where did it fall apart, I think when more and more people lost pride into what family actually is, when they were born into a society or a community which was supposed to be their family, and what they saw was a bunch of people that didn't have pride in self, and pride in their lineage. So I think it goes to a point of ignorance, right? How many people that don't know their parents and they're in the family? How many people think that their uncle is their father? How many people don't even, they right there next to their mom, they think their mother is their sister, and they were raised with their mother as a sister. And when they have the ignorance of that and they get older, now what they have is a bunch of pain, right? And they're confused. And then it happens that they end up having kids of their own, and probably building a family or whatever, but they built that family with unresolved pain. And then it goes to a point where they didn't have pride into their lineage. And so a lot of people move away from the family, I guess you could say the unit, right? When you see what we all do is we go away. Some of us go away and then we come back and then we around our family. I was away from my family for 10 years. So when I came, I really liked being around them. And when I seen the change as we got older, I still had a reverence for him. I still, just like with my brother, me and my brother, we have issues and things like that. But I think that a lot of times you have issues with your family members because it presents in my opinion, it presents an avenue for an answer, right, on the problems that we have. Like me and my brother, we done went 2-3 years without actually really talking to each other. However, we always put that effort into getting it back together again. And one of the reasons was because our parents, even though they didn't try to force us together, they used to try to bring us together by having dinner at home, or they'll do something where they know that we have to be right there with each other. But the love me and him have for each other, it just got to the point where we were just like, man, whatever that shit was there, I don't even want to even talk about it. I love you. You my brother. Hey, man, it is what it is, because we both can express ourselves very well. If he think that I did something that was wrong, I validate the way he looks at it, and then we'll just talk about it. Most family members can't do that with each other, because what the first thing they do is want to start hollering and start accusing one another, and they're all talking the same, nobody's listening to nobody. And then you got other family members that want to, like I said earlier, destroy. They have it's nothing in them that makes them want to mend things that's broken. I think that when we have a family, that the problems that we have with our close family is it presents an opportunity for healing. The problem actually presents an opportunity for healing, but we have to be willing to go that, and have that reverence for them, for the fact that they are blood. For the fact I got cousins that I'm like, man, if you wasn't my cousin, I would have did you dirty. But since you are my cousin, I'm just gonna leave you alone. And I'll see you at the next whatever function, and that's basically what it is. I don't take these things.
Let me highlight you for a second though, cuz when the fuck you become so special? Because that's your mom over there. Y'all got that good job, and we still over here in this part of town.
Yes.
Where was you when we were struggling? So why all of a sudden now you so fucking high and mighty that you can't support us? Because when we were laying in the roaches and shit, and we made sure that when you didn't have a place to stay, we made sure we made a spot for you. We gave up our goddamn bed, everything, gave you our last little bite to eat because you're family. Now all of a sudden you're too good for us? Is that what we're doing now? Is that what we're doing now? It's all about you, the individual, and fuck the family? Is that what you're saying?
Man,
yeah, that's what I say. That's what I said to somebody, just almost verbatim what you just said right there. That's what I said to that other person. Because I have the ability to be biased. I have the ability to practice nepotism. So when it comes down to my family, I will be biased when it comes down to my blood. I absolutely will. I just picked the right one. I picked the ones that deserves that. I will be biased when it comes down to them. I will practice nepotism. No doubt about it. Absolutely.
Now, a positive that actually, and I'll let people jump in, but a positive I actually teach from that is that even though it sounds individualized, you are preserving your part of the family. So you are still making sure that part of the family stays alive. And I can't go down with the ship All of us can't go down to the. So it might feel, and I'm sorry for that feeling. It might feel bad, and I can offer you some support. And if you get your shit together, hey. But in the meantime,
right
between time, right. There's the positive. So it's still positive, right?
Yeah. There was one other piece that I feel like got skipped over, and I can only speak from my perspective. But I feel like a lot of the dissolvement from a lot of the families that we see now, because JT put it, is very nice. Is very nice. For me personally, I think it's once you see and start understanding and get like a glimpse of how finances work, and you actually see the generations come before you fail and squander wealth and squander opportunity, you start looking at them funny. Once you see them destroy the generational wealth that we always hear talked about in these YouTube streets, once you see that collapse, once you see that deteriorate down, once you see bad stewards of wealth get wealth just because, with no conversation, they were just like, we're the first ones to raise our hands. And it's like, you're also the dumbest. Like once you see that, it's like, and it's not that like because like I'm a very callous person, I'm very pragmatic, but it's not that I don't believe in family. I believe you get to choose, but like I also believe that there has to be a clearly defined leadership. When you have everybody running around and it's all chiefs and no Indians, stuff doesn't work. There has to be a hierarchy. And for most of the families within our communities, there is no hierarchy. There's no definitive, you know what you're talking about. This is who we talk to for this. This guy knows how money works. This person knows how to multiply wealth. Maybe we should give the wealth to this person and make sure that we're put in position where everyone's taken care of. But that's not the way that we function, unfortunately. Everybody wants to be the guy. Everybody does. When we talk about the small hats and how they navigate, the way that they do business is when one of them makes money, 5 make money, not one of them makes money and everyone else eats off their scraps. We navigate with one leader, one very centralized leader, and then they either get corrupted, bought, taken out, and then we have nothing, and then we go back to square one because nobody wants to be accountable for nothing, but everybody wants that role.
So reckless. So that's what I was talking about earlier. Like I said, your prescription. I think, unfortunately, I would say that is almost like necessary how we move forward. But at the same time, you're still describing the condition, how we got that way, and why we can't move like the small hats or whatever, and what's behind that. So it's like,
so it's not. We're getting there,
but I'm not disagreeing with you at all. But look at how do we get here, and why can't we move? Because I still think this whole family discussion that we're having, or the way we're moving, it's almost out of our condition. But I still don't think it's optimal.
So my question is this: go ahead. Sorry, Dan.
Well, let's Beautiful Animated was going to reply, and then I want to get in our pain.
No, I was going to ask Ray, who hurt you?
I wasn't who hurt me. It's who galvanized me. I'm not hurt. I'm strong. Nobody.
Dude.
I solved the problem.
You got
I am a problem.
You got a whole lightsaber come out your head.
You see, I got the same colors up too. I
yeah. That was nice. Good catch.
You ain't right. You done made JT go fade him.
Why?
Right. Good one. All right, listen, before we go further, welcome our pain. In case you may already know, Black Man is dealing with the loss in his family, so we're covering tonight. Wanted to give a shout out to Black Man Unfiltered as a group. Wanted to get more people here, so just before you go, and I asked Black David to get a clip for us, and you can however we do it, you personally out there in the chats and on the panel, however you call it, a moment of pause, grieve, whatever you want to call it. But I'd like to take that moment to acknowledge Black Man Unfiltered. And the way we're going to do so is actually this particular clip, and then at the same time,
I'll play one of his favorite clips with the white chocolate.
Right. And then right after it plays, we'll take like a 30-second moment of pause, and then we'll come right back into you, RP.
All right.
I got a red room, it's the red dawn when the sun sets in my bedroom. Oh, it feels like I'm inside a flower. It feels like I'm inside my eyelid. It feels like I'm inside a flower.
Hello?
Yep, just wanted to give a pause there. So
Yeah, I was trying to speak on what Ray was talking earlier because
we had about 10 more seconds. We have CBN about 10 more seconds. All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you. CBN, are you serious? That's his favorite video. That's his favorite.
One of his favorite because there's a couple other ones. I don't want to play the other crazy one, which is a lady favorite.
All right, well, you guys know him best. But I thought that was some bullshit. I'm like, that's his.
This one.
My name is Rosa. They say I'm supposed to sit in the back, but I'm tired here, so I'm finna sit right closer. Come get me up then. It's gonna take about 3, 4, 5 men. And I ain't finna repeat myself again. Fight me. Somebody get her. My name is Eve. I didn't believe. I trusted Satan, ate that apple, he deceived. And I'm naked. I thought I was awakened. I'm the first to do it. Y'all my daughters, we related. Trick on Big Harry. Don't call me slave hoe. The hell? From the underground railroad, bustin' down mouth of dope. When I say run, you better go. In the dark, that Glocky glow.
Yes.
Dark.
Yes.
Here we are.
The hell? All right. Well, I'm saying you guys know the best. So, yeah.
I need me a pink wig. I need me a pink wig.
So that shout out was to you, BME, if you're listening. Again, prayers to your family.
I'm trying not to let my head get scrambled.
Yeah. All right, but if that first video is his jam for real, so good. Thank you, and thank you for those in the chat who paused as well. And we wish you a successful grieving process, and may your family be blessed. Payne, welcome to the panel tonight. We are talking about family, and I don't know how much you were listening, but one of the questions we put on the table. Got it. All right. How are you doing? And please feel free to say what you like.
When it gets big enough, you're going to have a little bit of what everybody said here tonight in your family. If it gets, how you relate to them. Like, I'm one of the guys, I'm like a big family guy. But that doesn't mean I'm close to everybody in the family. But my brother, on the other hand, if he never sees some family members ever again, he'd be happy. You know what I'm saying? So you got those kind of, if you go through the genealogy of a family at a certain point, and you see how family has changed through the generations, when you get old enough like I am, you can see enough of that, right? From the greatest generation to the silent one, to the baby boomers, which I am, and then all the generations that came after this one. If I had a conversation with the angry man, my generation is the worst generation that ever existed, okay? He makes a whole bunch of streams just on how much he hates the baby boomers. But, and maybe some of that stuff is legitimate, but, I don't count myself as part of that. But I'm saying the way I look at things with family is just like a lot of Black families, I was part of a communal growth thing, right? We moved from Harlem to the Bronx, and we had a house that my grandmother and grandfather had, and they were part of the Greatest Generation. They had all their daughters, they had daughters there, my aunts and uncles, and my mom's died, so I moved in. And all my cousins across maybe around 3 or 4 clans that were in that family. And now everybody has spread out now. And then, but so you start seeing cliques form in the family. Some people are closer than others. But we have family reunions, and it seems like every time we get together, we have a great time. Right? So I don't want to monopolize. Let me just finish this. I had a cousin who just passed away recently. One of the things that we wanted to do for him was, he was dying of cancer, and he was really bad off. He's young. He was only like 56. I used to talk to him all the time, and so he was in North Carolina. So we went down to see him while he was still alive, and he still had enough wits to know we were there, and we did it just to see him while he was still alive, to celebrate his life while he was still alive. Then he died like 2-3 weeks later, and then we had a funeral for him. So instead of everybody remembering all that stuff, now, so that's the kind of family that we have. Now, is everybody in the family close? No, absolutely not. But we seem to be able to gel together when we have. And a part of that was because my grandmother and grandfather were, like somebody says, you need leadership. They were the leaders of, they were the leaders of the family. And everybody, since she had like 7 girls and 3 boys, the women tend to cleave around their mother, right? So that means that we were always coming together in this nexus of all the girls leaning on their mother. So that kept us close. But all of that stuff is starting to disintegrate because nobody's getting married anymore, and all that kind of stuff. And the safety net that was formed with the baby boomers is starting to die off. And Generation Z, God help them.
I mean, the is the funerals.
Yeah. Let me ask you: Are you on the younger side, like closer to the Gen X side?
I was born in 58, so that'll be yes. I'm at I think the baby boomers ended like at 64.
One of my best friends are your age. That was the thing. He was, because all of his brothers and sisters were older than my parents, and my parents were 50. They were born in 50. Okay. So, and then I had an uncle that was 12 years older than me. I had another uncle that was 8 years older than me, and they were baby boomers. But when we got older, those were the ones that I hung out with. Those were the ones that, and not only did I learned from them, but as a man, they also learned things from me. It was kind of like they were more in tune on what was going on at that time because they hung around me as the young dude at the time. And It was pretty cool. One of my best friends right now, he's born probably about a year after you. And the thing that I look at is, that's why I love what you guys were saying. I don't think that it's one way or another when it comes down to family. I think we should put effort into fortifying our family. There are some people that just aren't going to be, they ain't going to be saved. It's just, that's just what it is. But when it comes down to family, I'm telling you, there are family members now that I love being around, and we've been around since we were kids. And a lot of times it just goes from those memories that we had as kids. Now, and as adults, I love hanging with them as adults. And it goes to what my man Reckless was saying. When it comes down to making a better life, understanding money, understanding how it works and all these different things, those are the people I like hanging around. Those are the people, when I see how their family, how they are with their families, how they bring their kids up and all these different things, that's who I tend to, be around. I don't really tend to be around the ones that's sitting there arguing with baby daddies and baby mamas and things like that. I see them at whatever function we got. I love them from afar, and that's basically it. But I can see, how you could just look at your family and be like, they just ain't gonna make it. And that's how I can, that they're just not gonna make it. As much as I want to help them, I can only help people that's trying to help themselves. Right. There have been people that when they see that I'm out here doing whatever I do, they would do whatever they can to help me. If I wasn't doing anything, they ain't talking to me like that. And I'm talking about some big money people. We got, I got rich people in my family and all kind of stuff, but I also got.
Let me speak on that right now. JT, let me speak on that. What I'm trying to tell what we're talking about is happening in my family, my father's side. My grandmother from my father's side was a very wealthy. She had property. She had land. When she passed away with her second husband, with my dad's father, instead of the family keep the business together and let that thing continue to grow, you know what they did? They snatched whatever share they have to make sure my father didn't get any. So there was no more wealth. There was no more land for nobody. Literally. To hear that my grandmother was a very, very wealthy woman. She was like running a particular region in my country, in our clan. And because she passed away, instead of keeping it within the family, they tried to rip it apart and take whatever they want to take among themselves. Fast forward to now, where is it right now? Where the land? Where the business? Gone.
Right. I think Mr. Bennett was, and Arpang, you may have experienced this as well. Mr. Bennett was talking earlier about, but back in the day, you still kept those people in the family. So like that person may have still gotten their share of money, or that cousin that's in a wheelchair, or that one that has schizophrenia, or that one or the one that's always getting in trouble with the law. We don't cut them off. They were still family, just not talked about. Whereas now they're actually cut off. Like we don't own them, we disown them. They're not part of us. They're totally disconnected. And so just wondering, like, so if all these things are dying off, so property that was the family house, grandma, great grandma, or grandpa, or whatever, that was the family house for decades that they had to buy in the south of the states, South Carolina or where are these southern states, and now those are gone. I'm not talking about the families who said, "Oh, I don't know what to do with the house. Let me put it for sale." I'm talking about the generations who just said, "We don't want that damn house. What are we gonna do with it?"
Well, let me add something right there real quick. The house that I grew up in, we moved there in '65, and that house, when my grandmother and grandfather died, they died like in close to 1990s or something like that. They were pretty old. They were able to die in their own house. But when it was time to sell that house, when it went into disrepair, one of their daughters became the executive of the whole estate, and she took care of everything. And she took care of it so well that I even got a piece of the inheritance from that house, and I was a grandkid. That's how well she had it structured with the lawyers, and it was free and clear. So I thought that was something. My grandfather on my mother's side did the same thing. I got an inheritance from him. So in my mind, I'm saying if my grandparents, because I think it's kind of biblical when your grandparents have done enough to leave something to their grandchildren, not just their kids. So I'm saying I need to do something like make sure I'm in a position to do that for my kids and whatever kids they have as well. So it just gave me a thing, to say, family is important, and it kind of pains me to see how it's dissipating. And when you talked about people get ostracized, because we had this communal relationship, and there were satellites, but we all hung out together. Every kid in our family, whether they had a mother and father or they were born out of wedlock, they all had decent education. Nobody went homeless. Everybody had clothes to wear, and everybody was well fed. So the choices they had to make, we all had almost an equal opportunity to either go down the right path or the wrong path, no matter what your parental situation was. It wasn't, if you had just one parent, it was tougher when they went home, but they always had enough, emphasis to say, okay, I'm going to make a choice. Like I did, right? I was out with the gangs. First of all, I was too chicken shit to be in a gang, Now, I'll freely admit that shit. I played basketball, but I knew a lot of the gang members, all the different gang members. So, so they just say, okay, these guys get a pass, that one doesn't. But there was places we played basketball, we had to run home.
Jesus.
We had to run home, especially if we won. So, so that's how family is family, and it comes in all shapes, sizes, and people do get ostracized, and that's a lot of it is their own fault. And then there's always pieces of the family who don't care what the transgressions were of that one member, right? And so that's how it goes.
Right.
You know what I can't understand? Can I say this one thing? Because it always irked me about this. You have 7 people in a 2-bedroom apartment or home, right? And they still can't make rent. It baffles me. 7 adults. And I'm like, how in the hell can you have, and it goes to, and my whole thing is this, and you see a lot of this go on right now. A lot of it where you have 5 and 6 adults and they're still poor.
Facts.
How did that happen in Philly? That happened to me in Philadelphia.
Facts. How did you get that many adults together and not figure it out?
Right. So let's use that example. Let's use that example, and a shout out to Across the Table with Christopher McLean. I apologize if I butchered that name wrong, but welcome to the network. Glad to have you here. Use that same example, JT, in our pain. There are families, and not to make it East versus West, but there are families in other cultures and other countries where you are expected, the youth, get home until 25, 30 years old. The elderly stay there. You take care of grandma and grandpa in the home. No such thing as nursing home. And then you have those who are not designated. In fact, I'm kind of torn on this because you might have that one female that stays and take care of the family. Now she's clearly 35, 40 years old, and she didn't raise her own family because she stayed to take care of others while the siblings moved. But the point is, there are cultures where that's the expectation. We stay together. And on top of that, there are cultures that say, hey, stay on the couch for a minute, get yourself together, go to school. You know, there's some certain agreements that you can stay, and we want to support and help you build, and we are proud to do that. Why did that change?
So it's the intent. Those cultures that, like, I can speak specifically to Indian culture. I can speak specifically to Vietnamese culture. They are setting their children up for success, which is why they're not rushing them out of the nest. But specifically Indians, they'll move to a area and they will all live with 6 adults in the home. And what they do is they're looking for the next home, and they'll stay in the first home until everyone can afford the mortgage on that home. Then they'll buy another one, and then they'll replicate this process over and over again until they have that many houses that they own, right? The issue is specifically with our culture, from what I've seen, is people are just languishing at home. And this is Western culture. I'm going to say Americans because white people are doing it now too. They're languishing at home because they have no purpose. Men have no rite of passage, so they just don't go anywhere. They don't know how to be adults, basically. The way that we rush kids out of the house that want for independence is because it goes back to no hierarchy, no leadership. There's not a plan. It's a lot easier to stay at home if you're like, hey, this is what we're doing and this is why you're here. So it's going to be awkward for a little bit. You ain't going to be able to bring chicks home and smash here, which honestly would keep. I literally moved out of the house so that I could have sex when I wanted to. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, a lot of the promiscuity that goes on right now, if we did keep our children in with a plan, would not be going on because there would be a much higher vetting process. It's very inconvenient to be trying to smash at your parents' house.
Right.
Because they're there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you also have some oversight about the women that are coming around. Like, now mom's judging. Hey,
I mean, there are some parents who say, as long as I know you're here doing it, you know, have a bowl of condoms, you can, you know, as long as I know where you're at.
Agreed.
In a lot of
but
cultures,
what I'm
though,
saying,
Ray, you be married to that person that you're smashing. You know what I mean?
100%. But that's what I'm saying is, like, we don't have that direction
to a permanent family.
Yeah. Like, we don't have that direction. So there is a drive for independence if there's no purpose for you being there.
Okay, so here's the challenge, and please hold me accountable because I don't want to. Here's the question: Do we find that the families who've had some type of adverse experiences say, "Let me move on"? So back in the day, you were either taught to go into the military right out of high school, or you were taught to get a job, or you were kind of encouraged to do something.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the families who say, this is BS, I'm out. at 15, 16, what's called emancipated, 17, I'm out. But I find those families usually have had some type of experience that motivated them to move on or feel disconnected, not loved, not belonging, no sense of purpose, no sense of connection, no sense of family, and definitely don't give a damn if we're blood because you treat me like shit. So
it's
this
a toxic environment.
Right, toxic.
Right.
So what about the families who don't have that I won't say intoxication. They don't have that level of poisoning in the family. Would we still encourage those people to like go do your own independent thing?
Hey, well, let me just real quick, let me chime in. The first question you asked, culture made all the difference in how the families acted, like the Asian families and all that. Like when we talk about the small hats, they got 2, 3, how many thousands of years of culture has grounded them to be the way they are. Now, you know, us being disjointed here in America, I think up until I guess, you know, segregation was ending, we flew away from each other because now we could, right? And we didn't have when we had to stay together, we had intact families, but it wasn't just because we had a culture there, but we kind of started to thrive. It was a double-edged sword, right? Some of us was thriving. Some of us knew that we had a captive audience during, you know, segregation, so they didn't have the best quality and the best this. But families were together. You didn't just throw your kids out, but you wanted your sons, for example, to when they hit 18 adulthood, because back then 18 was like adulthood. Hey, at least have a job, or at least go to the service. And you wanted your daughters to get married or find somebody to marry early if they didn't go to college, 25, 21, 22, 23. And a lot of them did that. And then when the cultural mores started to change, just in the West, you know, of course, you know, everything is exaggerated in the Black community. Everything. You know, I mean, drugs are exaggerated, breakups are exaggerated. I mean, the myth that, you know, Black women, Black people were most on welfare, maybe in percentage, but we spend a whole lot more money on welfare for white people than we do for Black folks.
100%. There aren't enough of us. Like, if all of us were on welfare, there would still be more white people on welfare.
Yes, epidemic. You know, so we're pretty hard on ourselves too, but we don't have to keep that train going. For my daughters, when they graduated out of college, the first one came back home. She stayed there for 7 years before she left. Fortunately, I couldn't get her married off, but she was able to. She didn't have no loans. She was able to, you know, I had her portfolio was set, and she still feeds into that. And my youngest daughter just graduated last year, and I set her up for the same thing. And I have a bunch of cousins who are in that age group, and I try to get their parents and them to sit down so I can get them set up too. Yeah, and the family. So that's my contribution.
Our parent would definitely be one of them brothers I'd be hanging around all the time. Just if
right.
I was a young buck, and I seen how you had your family and everything, because I wanted family. That's all I knew. When my mother and my father, that's the culture I knew was family. That was in the plan for me. So being around you, that's why being in the military, I kind of fast tracked. You know, I was a buck sergeant at 21. So I was kind of fast tracked when it came down to it, because all my friends were, you know, E6s, E7s. Some of them were captains, some of them, and it was just because of where I was living, and I was married at the time too. And so her friends were all married to high, you know, guys that was high up in rank. So when I got with those guys, they challenged me to greatness. They like, you ain't gotta stay here for 4 years and be no specialist, man. What are you talking about? Let me show you how to get this. And just showing it, and then seeing them around them families. And I'm 21, 22 years old trying to figure it out myself. It really did something for me. It actually kind of made it bad for when I did come home and I seen how behind a lot of my family members were. They were very behind when it came down to it, because they didn't have family in mind. They didn't have fortifying finances and all these different things in mind. What they was trying to do was hustle, get the bag. They were still doing the same thing and being in the same neighborhood. I got 2 daughters right now, and I'm so proud of them because they don't have a neighborhood that they can come back to. I got one in Louisiana in school. The other one graduated 2 years ago. She has, her son or whatever, and they're making it happen. Flaws and all. So one of the things I learned was one of my purposes was to make sure that they're going to be okay once they get 30 and 40 years old. Because look at what they got to deal with. Even like they family members, I don't want them to be around them damn kids. I was so glad I'm telling you, I was so glad my daughter was just like, I'm out. I want to go here. Yeah. I want to do this. Being around their family, I'm telling you, I don't even. It makes my stomach hurt. I think about it, bro.
And I don't mean to cut you off. Is it family or is it a behavior? Is it family or is it a different ideology? Is it family or is it a belief system that you like? We don't want to be part of that. Is it a structure? Which it was going in the blood,
right? So it went to what you challenged earlier, right? The reverence of family, because they're blood. Like when they find out who blood is, they want to get to know who they are. Until they show them something different, but they like that, and they're impressionable girls. They're beautiful girls, but I'm like, nah, I just wouldn't. I wouldn't have felt good at all. I love, like I said, I love my family, but I didn't want my kids to be around, hanging around them, because they wasn't doing anything. Again, like I said, I see it a lot, man. You have 7 people in the doggone house, and everybody broke. And all the thing they doing is stealing from one another and arguing about stupid shit. $3, $4, $5.
Yeah.
Police coming over there because they're arguing over frivolous things. And the craziest part about it is it'd have been cool if it was just adults there, but they're teaching the 17 children that they all got. And now those children grow up, and guess what those children end up doing?
The same thing they saw.
Right.
Boom.
Okay.
Now, yeah.
All right. And Mr. Bennett, I'm gonna get you. I just wanted to introduce. Greet Mandrell. Then we're gonna have your comment, and then go into a video. Also, only planning for about maybe another half an hour, so just to be prepared for that. So, hello, Mandrell. Welcome. How are you doing tonight?
All right.
Good. Glad you made it up. So we're doing our thing tonight. Yeah. Mr. Bennett, what were you going to say to JT?
Something I was just pondering was because the one thing I thought about this whole discussion was I talked about family reunion earlier, and again, I don't know if this happens in other cultures like it does in African American culture, but the last one I went to, I was glad to be there because I didn't go there in a lot of years, but I was also a bit pessimistic also because what I'm noticing with each passing year, they're getting smaller, in part because the families aren't as big. Like I think someone mentioned earlier, they came from like 12 kids or whatever. Again, my dad came from 13. My mom came from 9. You just had these bigger family units that help bring people together. Now, the fact that families are less connected, it's like you go there, it just doesn't have the sizzle, it doesn't have the buzz. And again, who's then taking over for the next generation that's coming out? So the question I'm asking is the fact that we're having, in general, fewer children, is that also contributing to this idea of this lack of leadership? Because again, and let's face it, like you've always had the few in a family who take care of everything. You had mentioned that earlier about the one. So you got 10 kids back in my brother Payne's day or whatever. 2, 3 at tops were like, they were the responsible ones. They were going to make sure mom and dad were taken care of. They were going to make sure the family and even back in the day, you always grew. The firstborn was supposed to be like the leader. Like that's the one you grew to say, hey, take over when stuff went down. But the fact that we're not even replacing our number in these days, like just people in general just having fewer families. So does that even put more pressure then on that one kid or maybe 2 kids to take on stuff when reality it's like we survived because we had numbers?
Mr. Bennett. Yeah. Mr. Bennett, I have a question to fire back, and then I have an answer for you. Do we believe that we live in a harsher reality than what our predecessors did in the past? Do we believe that it's more dangerous now than it was 20, 30, 100 years ago?
I don't think so. No, I mean,
danger as in hosting. You mean danger as in being public, like being in public, like afraid to be at a.
No, just in period, because the whole concept of having a bunch of kids is the same reason that animals have a bunch of kids. We are not animals. We're just intelligent and aware of ourselves.
Right.
The reason animals have litters is because they live in harsh environments where there are natural predators. There are things that take them out. Now, for us specifically, I mean, people is out there breeding. It's just the wrong ones. So I don't think numbers are an issue. So for instance, what I can tell you I can only go anecdotally from personal experience, as any of us can. But in my experience, my family, the person who kept everything together was my grandmother. There were no boys born in my direct family line until me. So it was all run by women because they're broken homes. High level of respect for men. It was just stuff didn't work out, and like my grandfather wasn't around.
Right.
So when I was born, it was always instilled on me, like, hey, you got to start taking this stuff over. Like, you're going to be the leader. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. And even though I went through my knucklehead phase and was in a very dark place, when I came out of that responsibility was still there. But not only did she seed that in me, she seeded it in her daughters. So now there's literally 3 of us. But the thing that I keyed in on very early at a very young age was like, these people are not good with money. So that was my focus. So coming back around, now that we've been through that time, the family's kind of separated, and like I'm making that effort to do those things that she did to like bring us back together. But I'm bringing us back together. Like, hey, how do we fix this mess and move forward so that we don't have to experience what we watched them do? Because as much as my grandmother, God rest her soul, she literally seeded everything into me so that I could do exactly what I'm doing right now.
Right.
That's the play. So if you only have one kid, you only have to worry about pouring into one individual. Like, you just don't screw that up.
Right. Well, like, let's do this.
No, but I'm saying, like I said, and thankfully you're the one to do that. But I'm saying, but in families, and even when you had these large family sizes, it's not like every kid had the capacity or the capability to be doing what you're doing. If you got 1 or 2 of you, you were fortunate. Like,
but when you have numbers,
the one who was going to be the alpha or the next leader or whatever. Because it's like this whole family dynamic is such where, and people are just opting out of having families, period. So we're talking about forming these independent, redefining families and whatnot, but we see societies that are dying out because people are just not,
but even
to have children going together or just not be,
But even before the numbers reduced, Arpan, I heard you one time talking about how you actually have tasked like 2 or 3 other people to kind of do this. Like, when you move on, they're actually tasked, right? To kind of take this.
That's my plan. I haven't identified.
All right. And so I think there's been a reduction in that tasking. 1, which idiot am I going to task? And 2, like, really, the elder generation, like, they were doing all these planning, every couple of years for reunions. Who's doing that planning? So not only are the numbers smaller, people are more and more independent, more kind of into their own thing, not wanting to. Some people are just lazy. Like, man, I'm not going to be calling all these folks getting rejected and blah, 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 and sending out shirt forms and all that. Or it's just a number of reasons why being independent really reduces the family value, tradition, so on and so on and so on. So what I like to do is show this video. When we come out of the video, if we'll take turns, starting with Alexa. I know you haven't had a chance to say much. Show this, and then we'll come back and give thoughts on it.
A moment to play, and let me know you can hear it.
Can't hear.
Did you click on share audio?
Hold on.
You gotta share audio, homie.
Black David, I thought you worked IT for 20 years.
Oh, stop right now, you clown.
You said it, not me.
Oh, no.
Oh, Black David, just remember, all you got to do, Black David.
I go share audio also.
All you got to do, Blake David, is
it's going to be at the bottom left.
Is be smarter than your equipment. That's it.
Hey,
all you got to do.
While he's bringing that up, can I say one thing right quick before you
Yes,
bring
sir.
this up? I think one of our biggest issues, and we'll come back to it, but I think one of our biggest issues, especially in like culture.
Right. So
can we hear it?
This has been on my heart, and I wanted to share with you all. Okay, and I want you to hear me from my heart. Family. What is family? There's different types of families. There are healthy families. There are toxic families. There are families who just get to earn the word or the title family simply because you're blood related. Although that does not make you family. Family is love. Family is compassion for each other. Family is respect for each other. Family is holding each other accountable. Family is lifting each other up. Family is communicating even when it hurts, even when it's uncomfortable. Family is not going behind somebody's back and talking about each other. Family is addressing situations spot on. Family is addressing situations even when don't nobody want to talk about it. Family is togetherness. Family is love and respect. Family is no matter what, we're going to still stick together, right? That's true family, right? That's healthy family. But we are living in a time where we have lost respect for humankind, right? Which also causes us to lose respect for our family. So I ask you, right, to ask yourself, what kind of family am I personally? Am I being intentional with being a healthy family, a loving family, but most importantly, am I being intentional with being true family? That's what we all need to be. We need to get to the place of being a true family.
Like David, you can cut it.
All right, we deserve that. We all deserve.
Thank you. I was like, oh, I was like, oh yeah.
You over there sweating like, oh,
yeah. Oh, thank you. All right, so you heard. Yeah. This is what now. That's her perspective on what family means. And we were answering that earlier. What is family to you? But that question, what I say, what value do you bring to the family? And what value are you expecting return to the family? But if we were to take turns answering her question, what do folks think? And be the family, if you want to go, and then like I said, like I've had a chance to get you in.
Has this breaking down what this family is, what this family is, what this family is. We're only family if we're have a strong connection and we are there for one another and all this stuff. Like the people who have done me wrong and stuff in my family, I don't address them as family. You will never have me introduce them as a family member. So all that group, different things that she was listing, I don't do that. That just no. I keep my conversation short and sweet. Oh, that's so and so. So yeah, it's just the connection and stuff like that, and how we take care of one another. If we're not doing that, if you're just a bastard who need to go somewhere, then you're just a bastard who needs to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And then if you were to have a family forward, if you would have kids or whatever, how would you set them forward? Would you want to have them build on what family, kind of your legacy or what your family previous to you, what you hoped for, or would you continue with independence?
No, it's independence. I mean, the family that I'm cool with, of course, my daughter is cool with them, and she doesn't have any relationships with the trifling people. If they're trifling to me,
right?
Why would I want them near my child? No, I've kept myself out of prison by being smart. Okay. Especially with my kid. I don't.
Right, and it'll be another conversation, but that mentality which nothing wrong with it, because we're talking about your associates, your friends, or others, right? If I'm not going to shop there, if mama's not going to shop there, why am I going to shop there?
Right.
But that also leaks into those families who your daddy ain't shit, your mama ain't shit, and so now he or she is growing up with, I'm not going to have a relationship because of my mama's relationship with daddy or my daddy's relationship with mama. That bleeds into that same type of, I'm not going to like them or appreciate them or value them or be part of them because of the adult's relationship. So,
no, see, with sperm donor, I told them either you're fully in her life or you're fully out. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna play with my kids' emotions like the way you do in your other kids, as I later found out. You know, he would just, I'm the adult, I'm the parent, and I'll see them when I see them, when I want to see them, and all that stuff. Like, nah, bullshit. So, since she couldn't be there fully in her life, he opted out.
Okay. Probably for the best.
Right on, my sister.
Hell yeah, for his best. Hell yeah.
For his best thing, right? All right. Alexis?
You got me cracking up over here. I had that's where I'm at with the father of my children. Like, you in there,
yeah.
My thing, because of faith, I have a little different view of family. I'm one that's like, I will cut you off and I will not think about it. Like, because at the end of the day, just because you're family does not mean, or blood family or whatever connection we may have, does not mean that I have to entertain you or whatever with you just because of that. And I think that's damaging in a way as well, that people think that that's my cousin or my sister or my brother. I'm the oldest out of 3 girls. And we have a brother and he's in Kansas City. But I'm the oldest out of the girls. And man, my youngest sister did some stuff that I, even to this day, I'm still like, I forgive her, but I have not forgotten. And I know what to say to her and I know what not to say to her. And so I keep that relationship there basically to an extent because of my mom and my dad, and everybody puts a lot on me with being the oldest and being the oldest that can get things done. But I keep her at, that's my sister. I love her. She come down and we hang with the kids and stuff like that. We have the kids together but I know better. And that's with cousins or anybody else. Like, I know better. I'm not just gonna have you up here making me look like a fool just because you my family. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because, if we go back in history as far as people of color, like if our breakdown and foundation was taken from us early, so we had to build and make our own and take from what we saw and thought of what family is supposed to be like. But I don't think we will ever be like that. I see, what y'all was talking about earlier about how there is groups of colored people that replicate that thing, almost like Italians and Asians, that there are some, but I don't feel like we'll ever get there. I feel like because we were stripped of ours early, we will always be taking from something else. Not that it's the bad thing per se, but that's just obviously where our foundation began. We will never know the original. And even if you do 23andMe, I don't think that stuff is 100% correct. So, we will never know. But, family, everybody has their tolerance. My tolerance is different from CBN or Beautifully Animated. It might take me a little minute to cut somebody off. Beautiful Animated is like, nope, right then and there. I take a little more.
I don't know.
No, there's certain
This
people
year,
I
I
might
cut off
give
my
you a
mom.
little bit more of a chance to see, but I'm still watching. You know what I'm saying? And yeah,
Right.
So some is right away, and some is there's a little bit of wait.
Alexa, let me tell you something. I cut off my mom. I cut off my brothers. And I cut off my two sisters because I was fed up. Years of disrespect. And then you say I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest, but yet you want me to carry the whole entire family on my shoulder, and you want to treat me like crap? Nah, do me a favor. Not jump off the cliff. You could jump off the bridge. I'll pay for which one will jump off.
Right. And I still
And they think it's okay just because they're your mom and your like. I don't understand how people logically think just because we whatever that I can do you dirty. Like that just don't make sense.
So Alexis. Let me put up my little disclaimer here. All right.
Oh Lord.
Nope.
They have a part 2 to this show because this is not a regular one-day topic.
Theatrics. All right. So Alexis.
Yeah.
So, like I just went to therapy today, and I just found out that the guy who touched me was supposed to be a family friend. And when I told him about it, she told me she didn't want to hear it. I tried to tell Dad about it, but because he and Mom would fight, he didn't want to hear it.
Okay.
And what I learned, the people who I was supposed to be able to trust, what I learned is the people who claimed that that was to protect me, they didn't. And one of the things I've always appreciated about you, and I fucked it up. I take full ownership. I fucked it up. And it's cliche, and I don't want to do all that. I didn't know. But what I'm asking, you were like the only true family that I had.
Like David, put the asterisk back up, like David.
You're the only true family that I had. And I did some shenanigans. I won't even lie. I'm not gonna bullshit. But I didn't know. I swear to God, I did not know. And all I'm asking is, please don't give up on me. I'm fucked if you do. I have nothing left, nobody left. I'm not going to be perfect tomorrow. I'm not. But we are family. More than that bastard who put his hands on me. And I'm just asking, is there any way, not just forgiveness, is there any way that we can still stay family? Now that's loaded with emotions, but I'm saying, how can we still stay family?
Well, first, that was emotional and heartfelt. So I'm gonna take emotional and heartfelt with you, and I appreciate your vulnerableness for going there. And it takes a lot to be able to go to therapy and admit stuff. So I commend you for that. Especially as a
black
black
go to
man.
jail, but thank you.
You're right, but as a black man, because a lot of times, I know black men and my dad and stuff like that, they just always suck things up. So I commend you for that. But since we're being honest, I'm gonna say this: understand that it may take me some time, just like it may take you some time to get things together. So as long as we have an understanding of that, then perhaps we can move on. But we need to have a plan of this moving on and what we're going to do so we can come together eventually. But just know right now that I'm on and you can understand that, right?
I can.
Okay. So as long as you can understand that, and if you have any suggestions that may help mend this, I'm open. And whatever I have, I'll share with you. We just gonna have to take this a little bit at a time.
That's cool. I mean, you got $40 I can have tonight. Just, and
You sit his hell with that one.
right. Yeah, because what I mean, what normally happens, don't we flip right? Once I got her permission, I flip right back into my natural behavior.
Yeah.
Hey, Doc, was that scenario from were you her child?
No, her and I related. We grew up the same time, but family member, friend of a family member did something to me. She could be sister, cousin, whatever.
I've seen that scenario before.
I think her answer is the difference between man and woman. The answer that she gave was what I would expect for a woman to say. Nothing wrong with it. It's just
because loaded with emotions.
Yeah, because me as a man, if my
Hello.
His phone's yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. So look, my response would be a little bit different. My response would be along the lines of, what were we taught growing up, and are there consequences for people's actions, right? And holding someone accountable also means that they have to face the music. I think we miss that sometimes. Is that when I hold somebody accountable, sometimes that means there's a consequence that comes along with that. That is a part of being held accountable. Yes. I would also say to my relative, you're not thinking straight. There's no possible way you could possibly be thinking straight after what you just went through. It's impossible. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're thinking with your feelings, with your heart, and that's fine. You should be after the trauma you just suffered, right? But I didn't go through it, right? Yeah. You did. So I have to help you in this situation a little bit and help you make a more logical, pragmatic decision on how we move forward that'll be beneficial for you emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, 2 years from now. Because I don't think you're thinking like that, and you shouldn't be after what you just went through. That's hard. Yeah. Why would you think that way? After what
Trey, it goes to what the doctor just did when he flipped the script. Right after he said it and he flipped the script, it's kind of like he reverted back. And that's why it's very hard for us to be able to forgive someone. Because
I understand, but the part of me is over. It's not about me anymore. Why can't you forgive me? Trey,
but it is about
I love what you're saying, but it's really about the next generation after me. I'm trying to tell you, we are family. Please do not give
not right now, Doc, not right now. It's not about the next generation.
No, I'm gonna test it, right? But I'm gonna test it. I'm gonna test it because I'm gonna bring the music to you. I'm gonna bring it right back to you and see where you go. And most people can't handle it. They will not able to test it. Then. Man, I said I was sorry.
If I'm in my active addiction, drugs, sex, relationships, anything that's been crumbling our family, if I'm actively in that, but I had a moment of pause to say, brother, uncle, whoever, please, I'm fucked. But our family, everything that dad worked so hard for, everything that mom worked so hard for, grandma, endless nights. Please, I'm asking you, don't give up on that. Fuck me. But I'm the current family member, so I'm asking, please. I can't do it.
But why do you have to bear that? You didn't do
it. True.
So why do you have to bear that responsibility? You
didn't destroy this family.
Hang on. You didn't destroy this legacy. You didn't do this. There's a difference between being a victim and being a perpetrator, a suspect. You didn't do this. I would never let you take that burden because this isn't your fault.
Right.
But you know what? Sometimes it doesn't matter how much you say that, they have to find their way to that on their own.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I like what Trey is saying. He's saying
beautiful anime, I'm gonna be right there to help you every step of the way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. If it takes 2 years, it takes 2 years. But I'm never gonna let you take that burden. You didn't do this.
Yeah. Right. Listen, but that's why I'm asking for your help.
Take the burden of what?
I've gone in these homes where I've had to take these reports, and I can immediately see with these people, these kids, these women, even the men, they immediately start to take blame for this, and I'm looking at them like this. No. You didn't do anything.
Right. I did. But the impact of it, I'm no longer in position to continue the family, and we are blood. No matter how much I wasn't at fault, no matter how much any of that. What I'm saying in my sober mind, Please, you take the torch. I'm not putting on your shoulders. What I'm saying is I want to bridge and do it with you, but I'm going to have my faults still until I get cleaned up. But if we split, not just you and I, but if the family splits, we have nothing.
Yeah, I think I can kind of see where Doctor's going. I mean, it's always that.
I see how hard it is.
I've seen it for everyone, right? For everyone, for everyone.
But you being the sober minded, again, too much is given, much is required. The fact that you're the one who has the sanity. You're the one who can keep the family going. Mm-hmm. Again, I may say, look, you can't be part of this. Again, that thing, like, take care of your addiction, take care of whatever you got to take care of. You got to sit down somewhere, right?
Because I'll mess it up, right? I have potential to mess up.
Especially now, I come into this. Now, I'm the youngest of 5, and my brother's older than me by 6 years. At the end of the day, I'm the one who had to take care of my family. At the end, we couldn't rely on my oldest. My middle one's, like I said, some people can't, and some people can't. Some people don't have the ability. Some people don't have the capacity. Some people don't have the time. Some people don't have the patience. And I'm asking the question, why I got to deal with this? And then rather than keep fighting it, saying, hey, this isn't my fight, this is my thing, it kept coming back to me. Well, why not you?
Right. Who's fighting?
So instead of holding out against my family, instead of saying, well, y'all should have been on this or whatever, it's like, no, I just took it. And a lot of, if I had any feelings or animosity towards them because of, for whatever reason, for some reason, I just let it go. And to me, that's what part of forgiveness is. I think a lot of people, in fact, it was in the chat earlier, people were asking, well, what the definition of forgiveness is. The way I've always seen it, forgiveness has nothing to do with the other person. It has everything to do with how you're approaching the situation. And you just got to let that stuff go. Reconciliation, restoration, that's a 2-person job. Everybody's going to be on the same page. You got to do, sometimes you got to be willing to go to counseling. You got to be willing to do, all that work, so to speak, in order to get that relationship restored. Forgiveness has nothing to do with a relationship. But it's like, can I put myself in a proper frame of mind so I can do what is required, especially as my family's concerned? When it came to care of my parents in their elder years, I had to take that on because I know my brother, he just didn't have the capacity, and I couldn't depend on that. And rather than just hating on my brother, saying, "Well, you should have been more responsible," saying, "No, I just take it on," and I didn't have that animosity. So I think we have to look at this, or this idea of forgiveness. Like you said, it's not about the other person, but what is right, and what is that what are you supposed to be doing? And if it means your family, your legacy going forward, if you have the capacity to do it. If that's important to you, then you take that on.
Right.
Now, let me tell you
this. I'll land with this, and then we'll get back into it. I'll just land with this. What I really liked, and I hope that our listeners hear this, both Alexis, JT, and I think Trey was going there, because Trey said not now. Everyone answered with setting a boundary. Setting a boundary. Now it's up to you to keep that boundary. Because no matter how much I come back with my emotions and $40 and tomorrow I'm doing my thing again, maintaining that boundary. I'm willing to torch, but I'm going to light this bad baby the way I am. I'll take the torch, but I'm going to set the flame how it works for me. Right. I'll take it, but we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do I'll take it because I'm still blood, but I'll set the boundary on how I'm going to do it. Same with, I'll land there, whoever was next.
I want to say that the thing about back to me. I'm just going to say that not everything is forgivable. So if you can't forgive somebody, then just put yourself in the space to acknowledge that and receive it. That you cannot not forgive this person and just own it. People can say forgive. People can say that you need to forgive people for yourself and all this stuff, but if that's not within you, like you tried and you found that it's not within you to forgive certain people for certain things, then just accept that. Because if you're fighting it, If you're creating conflict within yourself because you're trying to do what someone else tells you to do, and you're not going with how you feel and what's going on with you mentally and physically in connection with this situation. Yeah.
But beautiful anime, the only question I will ask you is this. In that forgiveness that you're talking about, what is your expectation?
To be clear of it, right? To release something.
Okay. But so are you putting anything on the other person in that whole process? Are you waiting for an apology? Are you waiting for some sort of contrition at all?
No, just like whoever said it, forgiveness does not require the other person to do anything.
I beg to differ. I think it does. I think it does because what I look at is the works. If you tell me you sorry all damn day, I don't give a damn about that. Your action speaks a whole lot louder than your words, and your intentions speak louder than your actions. So they have to be willing to go through whatever it is they're gonna go through. I'm gonna give it to them. It's two ways that I deal with people. I either just gonna leave them alone, or if I love them enough where I'm gonna say, look, this is what hurt me, and I'm gonna give them the whole rundown on it. How can we get to another?
But that's a reconcile. But see, JT, that's a reconcile or restoration.
Right.
And again, sometimes you're not going to be able to get that.
Then I don't want to have nothing. That's what I'm saying. Then I don't want to have anything.
I'm not even going there. I'm just trying to work on the base level of your situation may not change. This person may not be unrepentant. That person could still be in whatever that they're in.
Yeah, they can fly a kite.
You still got to live on. You still got to have some sanity.
Yeah, they can live. I don't need nothing at all. I do it.
So let's do this. Right. So Black David, if you want to give a response, but then we were in rotation for someone moved, so it was Alexis.
I have a problem with that.
Our Payne, Mandrell, Reckless, Mr. Bennett.
Okay. I have a problem with that because those things you guys were touching multiple nerves because for one, the responsibility was put on my head at a very young age. I had multiple people telling me, "Oh, you should be the bigger person. You should take care of it. You should fix this. You should fix your father marriage. You should fix your mother marriage. You should," but yet
fix your father.
Never give me room to breathe. Let me give me room to be myself. But when something goes wrong, the blame comes on me for a long period of time. It came to a point whereby I decided to ghost everybody. And when I ghost everybody, all of a sudden I'm the villain. I'm wrong for doing this. But when I address the issue, the elephant in the room, oh, you should forgive them. Everybody want to correct me, but I want to correct the suspect. Mm-hmm. It got to a point whereby I was trying to fight for my sanity because I found myself drifting away into a dark world. And the thing about it, I recall rage moment whereby I'm breaking things, I'm destroying property, I'm putting crack in brick wall, I'm putting dent in metal locker. I was on a rampage because I could not take the fact
but that's my point.
People were putting so much responsibility on me, but yet when I want to figure out that it cannot just be me alone, but they did not care. Because when you come from a cultural background, I didn't have no lifeline to bail me out. Yeah. It was, when I say was doing dumping, it wasn't a regular dump. They put a dump truck on my head to the point where I had to take myself out of the situation, get clarity, and find who I am as an individual. And when I got fed up, I tried to be the bigger man several times. I bring mediators into the situation. You want to make it seem like they make me look like I was a liar. So when you have multiple people who are guilty in this situation, when I act like they're innocent and make it look like you making things up, I'm looking at them like, wow. So what you call family again? How can we be of the same blood? I was like, you know what? If I had my chance, I would change my DNA. Literally. That's how far it got to my thought process. So this January of this year, I text my brother. My brother and my tutor are in Texas. I don't know where in Texas I could kill that. I told him, do me a favor. Act like I never existed. Forget about me. Leave me alone. send that message to all my 2 other sisters and my mother. I do not want to be bothered ever again. Let me be in peace, because 20, 30 year plus of that madness, it's like carrying 2 heavy boulders. And that's why I'll try to get into UFC, because I have a dangerous amount of rage where I thought I could make money knocking people out to the next dimension. But I realized that's not necessary. But doing what I did, it allowed me to. It's not my battle. I don't have to fight over it. They put it at the corner and they walk away from it.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate it happened. And thank you for sharing that. One of the question, which our pain, Mandrell Reckless, back to if that video, what family, what is it that you know, what value do you give to family? What,
I can give you the tale of 2 first cousins, right? I had so there was 20 of us from third generation from my grandparents. There's 15 of us left. I think we were blessed because it took 47 years before the first cousin passed away. I know we were blessed. But by the way, 2 cousins. One of my cousins, she ripped off my aunt, who's my guardian, and my aunt must have raised like at least 4 generations of our family as a guardian. She never married, nothing else. She was a very pragmatic woman. And so my cousin ripped her off. Identity fraud, all this stuff. I think it led to her dying early. When I say early, in her 60s. Then I had another cousin I just told you about where we went to see him before he passed away. Now, he was younger, he was 57. He filled up a church. He filled up a church with standing room only. From people where he used to live in New Jersey. It was in North Carolina. And everybody was there. Family, everybody. For my cousin who ripped off my aunt, she had maybe 10 to 15 people at her funeral. So sometimes you got to let people work out their forgiveness on their own. You can't force this kind of thing. Like I was always cordial with my cousin, the one who ripped off my aunt, just the one who raised me. Right? And I was cordial with her, but we didn't hang out. We weren't like Facebook buddies or any of that stuff. I never really forgave her. But it was a segment of my cousins who did, but a small segment. And it played out when she passed away. Nobody honored her with showing up to her funeral. I mean, the whole thing was a shit show from the beginning with the money, raising the money, and all that kind of stuff. I did donate a little bit because I couldn't still go out like that. But my other cousin, he was married, even though him and his wife were kind of shaky. She took care of everything. It was just a beautiful service. And he had a lot of people who loved him because he was righteous.
Yeah.
So that's how the family goes, right? You can't force some of these things, right? If people chose to forgive my cousin for what she did, they chose to. If others didn't, you can't force that. And that's how it is. I mean, I think that's how it is in families. And as families expand both vertically and horizontally, you'll create different, cliques and different friendships and relationships as you go. Now, one of the things I have an advantage of, because I keep the family tree. That means I call people both horizontally and vertically throughout the family. People I've never talked to because I had to ask them questions. Right. So I had a first cousin twice removed. She was young and she was a unwed mother. Her baby died 2-3 weeks after she was born. I had to call her and say, can I ask her, can I put the baby's name on the family tree, dead or alive?
Yeah.
Right. And we had one of our first long conversations because I never talked to her because she's in Florida. I was here in, New Jersey. And that thing made me have connections to people across the board who I don't generally talk to. It's like 150 people in the family after 7 generations, 150 people. So that gives me a unique perspective on how the family is going, and I sometimes I just put the family tree up and I just stare at it. just thinking that it's bigger than this. But when I just look at my grandmother and grandfather and what they did and their progeny, it's like amazing to me. Sometimes I just stare at it. I said, my God, how this can happen. So I just think that one of the things I want to do is make sure that I can present that to different family members so they can see whether they care or not. This is your family that you belong to. And if that can live 10 years from now, 100 years from now, when I'm not here, and whatever technology we use, I can't imagine how powerful that would be for somebody 5 generations from now. Click on the button and see everybody that might be in their family. So that's one of the things once I retired, that was one of the things I wanted to do. So I'm doing that.
Kudos for you for calling your cousin and asking about putting the kid on the family tree. Because to me, that is accurate history. The baby was born, or pregnancy. I'm sure the baby had a name. So
right,
go on the family tree,
So and that was it. We had a deep conversation, so we stay in touch after that a little bit, So
the baby brought y'all together.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right.
So
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Who's next? And just again, a shout out to the audience. Thank you for being here tonight. For those who are in the chat, please remember to hit the like button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you for the conversation and dialogue. I know we haven't interacted as much with what we're doing here, but I see people are dialoguing and exchanging messages. So thank you very much for doing that. We'll be wrapping it up in 15-20 minutes. And hopefully we can get everything in this show, but definitely we probably need a second show to address.
We need a second show. Ain't no problem.
Yeah. Dude, we might need a second and a half show at this rate.
Right. There's so many pieces to it. Yes.
Yeah.
So Mandrell, Reckless, and Mr. Bennett, any thoughts on video and closing thoughts?
I got thoughts. I got lots of them.
Mandrell, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, cool. What are your thoughts?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's been peaceful, not messing with anybody. So let him go.
I'm so interested in what he has to say. Go ahead, Mandrell.
Not much, really. I mean, she just went on a whole list of stuff, characteristics. That's cool, but for the sake of audience, she could have just simplified it a little bit more. What do you want to know exactly? What I thought of the video? What do I think of what she said? What do you want to know?
Yeah, she named all these things that she considers to be what family is: value, respect, love, all these different things. And then she was saying, but in order to really have family, you have to be intentional about it. And so part of the question is, what is your intent for family? What value do you want to have in your family? And then what do you expect from them as far as being family or the value?
Oh, yeah, gotcha. Anything, anytime you do anything, you have to be intentional about it. It goes without saying. That's anything. But one thing she didn't mention, which is what I value most, is loyalty. She never mentions that. And when you ask people about either family or relationships or anything like that, they never mention it. They never mention loyalty. So if you never mention it, so if you never mention it, that means it's not in your mind. So why would you expect anyone to give you that if you never ask for it? You never make that an expectation. But then they come on panels and complain about men cheating. I don't understand. You never told them not to. So how does he go to this area?
Yeah, and I think Beautiful Animated was talking about covenant, and I know
what's a covenant?
Talked about that before, right?
Yeah, what's a covenant? Yeah.
Right.
And then no one explains what a covenant is. You just say covenant and covering, and you have to be on a man's covering. What's a man's covering? No one fleshes any of this out. You know what I'm saying? So she did an all right job, but I value loyalty because a lot fits underneath that umbrella. And I'm going to offer that back to you. Like I told, even in dating, I'll tell you flat out, day one. Listen, if I decide to date you, okay, cool, understand. There's two things you ain't got to worry about. lying and cheating. We may have our fights, we may have our disagreements, but another woman ain't gonna never be a problem.
Right. But everyone lies. Everyone lies.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, but I'm not talking about because you might have to set up a surprise party or something. Then I gotta lie to you. I can't tell you what
like a little white lie. Right.
Yeah,
but
yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about, hey, she's pregnant and it's mine. No, I'm not lying about shit like that. You know, or you know what I'm saying? Well, what happened to this $100,000? I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you about stupid. You know, that's come on. You know what I'm talking about. I mean, some things go without saying. You know what I mean?
Honesty. I'm not going to be setting you up for betrayal.
Right.
I'm not going to be playing you. Right. No matter how many games I play in the world, you are safe, my wife, my partner, my woman. Yes.
Yes. In fact, I'm going to tell you all about it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So you'll know what I'm up to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing. But no, nobody wants that. It seems like the better you treat people, the worse they treat you. Since y'all I have a cousin that it's not going to work out.
Mandra, can you repeat that? What you just said about the better you treat people?
The better you treat them, the worse they treat you.
I just wanted that to be repeated.
Yeah, and the more they reject you, I don't understand people. Yep. I really don't. See, this is why a lot of us. This is why 22 of us decide not to be here every day. We come back to this craziness. Y'all understand? Y'all understand? Y'all behavior affects people. I mean, I told y'all last week I lost a partner. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he decided not to be here anymore.
Yeah.
And
sorry for your loss. Sorry for your loss.
It's because it's been on my mind lately. You know what I'm saying? This whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, why would a person choose to do that? And then I look at us. Oh yeah, that YouTube shit. That's one reason. Then the way family treat them. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't understand why people reject kindness and look at it as weakness. Mm-hmm. But then when that person has had enough and they express how they feel or whatever the case, they retaliate or whatever the case may be, you say that person's wrong.
Right.
Just an observation.
Alexis, 30 second clinical answer. The scenario, the role play that I did with you when I said remember the family member did something to me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now not everyone has that. We'll just call it an adverse childhood experience. ACE. Mm-hmm. Adverse child. It could be anything from something really crazy to one time you forgot to pick me up on time. As I build this feeling of betrayal in me, and you've been so good to me, like I've been begging for this one type of woman, this one type of woman, this one type of woman. I finally get you, and then I spend the rest of the time trying to break you, because the fact that I got you was great. But then the subconscious mind is like, why are you so good to me? My own mama didn't stay with me. My own dad let his friend do whatever. All subconsciously, the better you treat me, the more I'm suspicious, the more I'm guarded, the more I'm trying to figure out why you understand me more than anyone else. The more, the more I'm going to test you. So then because I have inadequacy issues, that wasn't good enough. That wasn't enough. Do this for me. Do that for me. Do this for me. But I'm breaking you. 30-second answer. All right. I hope that made some level of sense.
Also,
are we married?
Oh, dang.
Okay. Ask you a question.
In anything, even before getting married, any relationship that I have, you could be my coworker, you could be my employee. Wow, you looked out for me because I punched in late like 6 times and I haven't been fired? Dude, because I appreciate your work. Don't do it again. And guess what? I do it again because it's this subconscious belief that whatever, you're going to treat me like anyone else. Don't do it one more time. So really what it was, needed me to be here during the Christmas season. That's what it was.
So you don't think fat means greasy?
No, I don't think fat means greasy. However, yeah. However, yeah, I like that. But here's the deal. The second my deviant mind hit, because I'll honor that. But the second I feel hurt, that's my greatest weapon. And spread that grease and shit all over the place because it's my greatest weapon. And you're like, I thought you loved me. I do. So anyway, that's for another story, but just wanted to give
discipline is another form of love. So in this moment, you have to be disciplined. And that means I cannot put myself in a bad position because, I mean, just in case, you never know how these computers and stuff work. They're going to look at like, oh, he was, I didn't even see him in at 8 o'clock, but it shows him at 8 o'clock and I thought he came in like 15 minutes. No, you're not going to get me caught up. I was being nice. I cannot do that again. So let's go ahead and be on time. And if you're not on time and you happen to get fired, I mean, I feel like that was part of God's plan.
And I'll take that and still feel so empowered because the fact that you were real with me, the fact that you held me accountable, the fact that you showed care, concern, and respected me enough to have that conversation with me. And I'll take it. And then it could be 3 hours or 30 days later that my subconscious mind says, and why did I deserve that? And then without even realizing it, get caught up in my whatever behaviors that's always causing me to be late, goof around, do it one more time, and then not even show up at all because of my embarrassment, my shame, and guilt because I failed you.
Yeah. And also, blood don't make you family, people. Loyalty does.
Right. Let me.
Thank you, man, bro.
Because people are just people. They're gonna treat you how they. I got a cousin who's a klepto, in my book, but I got a mother who chronically forgives him, and just he's changed. He's changed. Yeah, we heard that 8 trillion times.
Right.
No, thank you. So why don't you? No, he's not coming in. Any residence where I live, he's not coming in. You sit outside.
Right.
You sit outside.
Right.
But that's your boundary.
But I'm wrong. But here's the thing. He goes to New York and he calls my sister up. Hey, cuz I'm in town here. I want to come by and visit. You know what my sister said? No, you can't come in my house. I don't trust you. So
you can't even know where I live.
Even without she and I talking about it, she and I come to the same conclusion.
Right.
I don't care where I live. Yeah. You ain't coming in my house. No, right. we're relatives. We're not family.
We're relatives. Yeah. And
that's good. Let me read this to y'all. So it says the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Basically saying that chosen bonds are more significant than bonds of family.
It's thicker than water of the womb. So is Plato. What's the point?
I just read it to you. That who you find connections with, the people that you allow in your circle,
right,
is stronger. Your connection with them is stronger than anyone who you're bloodly related to.
That's true. I got partners I serve with that. I mean, like that kind of connection, you can't. That kind of bond we built. I mean,
yeah.
It's
is that priceless. What I said though? Did you say blood is thicker than the water of the womb?
The blood of the covenant is thicker
of loyalty. Got
it. Than the water of the womb.
Okay, yeah. If it's loyalty you're talking about, that's true.
Yeah,
they're two guys. They're two guys I'm not blood related to at all. Like I said, but I served with them.
But y'all family.
And listen, I trust them with my life today.
Yep.
Yeah.
So can I say something to Mandrell's thing about loyalty? This is one of the things I kind of explored, and one of the things I always, said for about 2 or 3 years now is that I don't give a fuck about your loyalty. Fuck your loyalty.
What? Okay. Oh, you gotta unpack that, bro.
Because you don't trust it.
He did say that before in the past.
Is it because you don't trust it?
I did a video about it. All I need is for a person to have integrity. When you are a person of integrity, that bullshit loyalty shit is bullshit.
Next level.
People are loyal to a fault. They will sit back. Dogs are loyal. They'll be following a serial killer.
100%.
People will sit back, and somebody said it earlier in a chat that a lot of people in their families, they will follow the loyalty of just them being a family member. I don't look at you.
But that's not loyalty, though, JT.
Promising that you just gonna have my back or whatever the way that they look at loyalty, and I hate that.
That's not loyalty.
This is the thing, though. I understand what you're saying,
Right.
Man, but what I'm saying is the way that people look at loyalty now is no matter what, I'm still gonna be right there with you.
Well,
but JT, I'll take those people if they're loyal to me.
Yeah, but that's not
what are you talking about?
That's not wait. The thing is, that's not helping. That's not helping you. Loyalty. What JT is talking about is like, okay, if JT is doing something messed up, right? That puts his character in question in my eyes. I'm gonna be honest with him. Say, JT, I think that's messed up. You're going the wrong way, man, and that's gonna lead to this, that, and the other. I ride with you through almost anything, but I can't ride with you on that.
Yeah.
Do what you do. I'm still gonna love you though. Loyal service means sometimes telling hard truths, and sometimes letting people fall on their face all on their own.
But
because people ain't always going to take your advice. You know,
right,
so that's loyalty. That's a part of loyalty as well. Loyalty doesn't mean following that person no matter what. Now, if you're wrong,
that's fealty.
You're wrong. I can't. I can't ride with you if you're wrong. That's fealty.
Blind loyalty.
No, it's not blind. No, it's
blind loyalty.
No, it's fealty. That means I'm in service to you no matter what.
Right.
It's like if you conquer another country, that country now plays fealty to you. That means that okay, I'm going to conscript all your men into my army, and no matter what I decide, no matter how fiendish or vile, your men are going to now fight for me, no matter where they have no choice. Loyal service means, okay, listen, bruh, no, you're going the wrong way, and it's so bad that I'm gonna stand out of this.
Right.
So is that your version of it, JT? Is that what you're explaining, JT? The same thing?
Well, yeah, it's kind of like that, but that's why I always use. That's why I use a person that is integritous, because the thing is that it's a little more forthcoming when you explaining it with the definition. When you hear people nowadays, they look at loyalty as you ain't gonna cheat on me, you ain't gonna do this, that's being integritous. When you can have integrity, that means that you're gonna do what's right even when nobody's looking.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, that's the difference. The way that people look at loyalty is so crazy. But somebody said the word. I don't know what the other word.
My loyalty.
Fealty. Yeah, that means like I said,
that's basically what they're saying.
That's what they're doing. That's what they're practicing. Fealty.
That's what they're right.
Yeah,
but that's why I just wanted. I just wanted to get it to a point because I understood. I did a video and I had it went viral when it came down. Fuck your loyalty and all that stuff. But it brought the conversation. Because I understand what loyalty is. I understand all of that. But that's what I had a problem with people sitting back and they use that word and they use it kind of like how they use love.
It's vagina whipped. Vagina whipped.
Yeah, but in loyalty, they came up with a phrase called loyalty to a fault. For what y'all talking about?
But that's when you talk about interpersonal relations. That's more so fealty than anything else. Loyalty means I'm going to be honest with you, JT. You're going the wrong way with this, Mr. Bennett. I love you, man, but I can't ride with you on this one. I'm going to say I'll be here when you get back, but I can't go and help you do this, and I can't sign off on it.
So, man, Joe, did y'all see this video of the guy talking about his boy? He was in his wedding, and his boy was getting set up to try to cheat, and he told his boy, he said, "Listen, man, I spent a lot of money on your wedding. You know, I talk to your wife all the time when we're together. I'm not about to be used to lie to her. So sit your ass down in the corner. I'll buy you a drink, but just stop doing what you're doing. Because I didn't put all my money in this so you could get a divorce." That boy, that's a real friend right there.
Sometimes loyalty is saying no.
Yeah. Loyal service means, and it also means having tough decisions, having hard conversations, and telling hard truths too. Because sometimes the truth is going to hurt, and you have to deliver it no matter what. If you're loyal to that person, because loyalty means I want to see you win, and I'm going to help you win. I'm going to help you be integritous, as JT put it. If I see you making an immoral decision, I'm going to call you on it. If I see you making the wrong decision, I'm going to tell you. If you have made the wrong decision, I'm going to tell you you're wrong for that. That was not the right decision. Wrong decision all the way. You know what I mean? But I can't stop you from making your decision. Again, that choice has to be your choice and yours alone.
So loyalty to who? Loyalty to who? Who did you say?
What do you mean? I said blood don't make you family. Loyalty does.
Right. When you said loyal to who? Loyal to someone else.
Yeah.
So I think the part that's missing, and maybe this is what you and JT are saying, is don't forget to be loyal to yourself first. Because we're talking about loyalty to someone else, not being led blindly, not doing all external, someone else. I wonder, can we be loyal to someone else if, as long as we were first loyal, committed to ourselves, and if what you want fits into how I can do it, how I roll, and how I commit, then I'm willing to do it. If I'm disloyal to myself, then I'm a fool following you.
So, Doc, this is how I would combine what Mandrell and JT are saying. I will be loyal to you as long as it doesn't impact my integrity. Right? So that's the connection.
Well, no, that's a part of loyalty too. That's a part of loyalty to that person. Because here's the thing, the act of you sitting out and opting not to do something that's not that's gonna compromise your integrity is gonna send that person a message. And that'll make them think, like, holy shit, wait a minute, maybe I'm going the wrong way. If he, you know what I'm saying, if my partner ain't gonna go with me on this, why not? Ain't the right thing to do, man. Here's why. You know what I mean? And that's gonna send a message to that person, and it'll make them second guess it.
Right.
And sometimes that's all it takes is for you to second guess. Get them to second guess. Sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense to what JT was saying earlier, because he was saying, I can be loyal to my family, but since they're about so much fuckery, then I have to let that go, right? Because that messes with my integrity and what I'm trying to do. And then when I propose, but is there some way you can hold, or you carry the torch? Sure, I'll set some boundaries, but if it starts to get into what is integrity to me and mess with me, I can no longer prescribe. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's thank you everyone for that part. Mr. Reckless, Mr. Bennett.
All right.
And then bring us home. All right.
Okay. So per the video, I had to write this down. I've made it a point to start writing stuff down so I don't forget. Y'all be going down rabbit holes. I'll be like, what was he talking about? But what is family? So family to me is duty. And I know I talk very callously about how I deal with people and family because I don't have friends. I just have family. If you're not family to me, you're nothing to me. Like, you can be an acquaintance, I guess, but that's kind of here nor there. Like, that's meet out on the street. But like, you can ask anyone that I've invited into my existence. It's everything. Like, I've got people that I've met on YouTube that have come, when they've come through Kansas City, we go shoot pool over at my pops' place. They've met my family. Like, I give everything up front because I am very willing to take everything away. I refuse.
I'll be there on the 16th.
I refuse. Okay, I hear you. But I refuse to not fulfill my duty to my family. Now, the way that I navigate might be confusing to people, but for me, your duty to your family is to be of use. Your duty to your family is to push that needle forward. Your duty to your family is to be the best version of yourself that you can be as a reflection of your family, to do honor to your family. And I'm not talking about your physical parents. I'm talking about your parents' parents, your parents' parents' parents, your parents' parents' parents. People literally had to walk through slavery, get on boats, die on the way over here, go through wars, conquer other cultures, get conquered by other cultures, and then they chose to reproduce to make you. So I don't live under the belief system that anything was taken from me. This planet can take nothing from me. I was galvanized. I'm a better version of everyone who's come before me. Every single person who came before me would look forward and go, damn, that was a good decision that we hooked up and reproduced to make that guy, because that's a beast. That is a monster. That is everyone's job. That is your duty. Now, along that path, you do make connections with people that you can consider family that are not blood relatives to you, that are on the same mission. that are also trying to fulfill that role for their families. And those are the people that you should be around. That's how kingdoms were formed. There were kings that were like, hey, we conquered this. Hey, we conquered this. Man, you're a crazy mofo. I'm a crazy mofo too. Let's link up and go take over everything.
Right.
That's family. Family is duty. Family is obligation. The men that I choose to be around, I am a reflection of those men that I consider my brothers. So if I'm out here looking some type of way, that reflects poorly on those people that I have chosen. It is my job to be of duty to those people that I have chosen as well. It is my job to be of use to them. That is my definition of what family is. I know that's not what everyone's definition of what family is, but that's definitely how I choose to navigate. And like, you know, when you have people that pour into you, it is obligatory to not go through this world just taking. That is an unacceptable state to be in. That is an unacceptable state to live in. And it's not a state that you can walk proudly as. Like, you can't walk around proud that you just take and you give nothing back. It makes for a bad life. And I don't want to have one of those. So I live by my definition of family, and I do the best that I can to be of use to everyone that I invite in and that I consider family.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Bennett.
Wow, it's hard to follow Reckless, man. I think you landed the ship really well. I really appreciated that.
You telling me?
I concur with a lot of what you said. As I started this conversation with, I think I define family sort of in layers. You know, I think, like I said, it starts with the mother and father, then the children that come after it, and then everyone that comes hence. But I do believe I think there is a responsibility to your familial bonds for the very reasons that Reckless was talking about. The fact that my mother and father had 4 others besides me, I do find a duty to my family to treat them well, to be the best version of myself, and to, as best as is possible to me, to try to keep the family together. Because again, I have seen in my family where there is unforgiveness, where there is periods of time when siblings don't talk to one another. And quite frankly, I don't like how that affects the family. I don't like how, what the attitudes that it produces in my other family members. And I just decided not to be that. So I promised my family when my father died that I'm just going to be the best sibling that I possibly can be. So I'm here for any of you guys, and I hope that you guys can kind of squash the beefs that you have with one another, because it's not helpful, it's not useful. And I do think there's something that we're missing just as a core group, as a collective, as a people, when we don't have this sense of these familial bonds. I mean, historically, for tens of thousands of years, this is how wealth was passed on. This is how empires were built. You talk about the empires, Reckless, of kings getting together. But again, those kings had lineages and they had families that got together. I think what we're creating in this generation, my only concern is if we're going to extend family to such where family bonds don't matter, bloodlines don't matter, then what are we going to be passing on to the next generation that comes after us? I think we really need to, certainly put some emphasis on trying to, as best we can, if there is family dysfunction, how can we get past it? How can we at least start with forgiveness, where you're not carrying that burden with you that's messing up the family that you're trying to build, how you can restore, or how you can reconcile. I think that's work that still needs to be done, because I don't think we're doing ourselves any favors. We're just going to be just generic society where no one's really connected to one another. So I think that base unit of what we consider family, I think we need to, do the work as best as it depends on us. We can only do what we, what's in our purview to do. But I think there's some work there that needs to be done. But all those things that we talked about, as far as, people being loyal enough to say no, being able to, put the time into to ensure bonds are maintain and stay strong. I think all those things are important. So it doesn't have to necessarily always be your blood family, whatnot. Again, my boys are, as close to me as my brother is, but there is I'll always feel that I have a responsibility to my brother for his well-being as much as he allows me to do. And that's not always easy sometimes, but I do feel that responsibility. And the older I get, the more emboldened, I feel, to take that on, and I don't, harbor any bitterness over that. So, this is a great topic tonight, and but I think that as this whole process gets more and more diffused, and everybody's just thinking in terms of just relating to one another, I think there's something to be lost. It may be inevitable for us, but I think it's something that if we can go back and fix some relationships that can be fixed, I think we owe it to ourselves in order to pursue that.
Thank you. We are at that final point. I'm not sure if there were any other questions. And again, I didn't track as well in the chat there. So if people have burning questions, if you would please still present them in the post show on the wall, that would be great, because then someone will get back to you with those answers, and or we'll address it in the next show. Again, for those of you who know, for those of you who know personally, Black Man Unfiltered, please reach out to him if you'll pass on your condolences. He's experiencing or dealing with loss in the family. So we thank you for the opportunity for us to fill in. We all consider this network as family. So we definitely love the opportunity to be here. We love the fact that you are participating with us. This is our version of family.
Oh yeah.
We're not blood related, not that I know of, but we are a family. This is a chosen family, and is one that holds each other accountable, is one that values respect and integrity. We also respect, or we value being able to bullshit with each other, tease each other, razz each other, laugh and cry together, be vulnerable with each other, share experiences with both men and women. So this is a space where people should and feel safe. And if not, there's enough, I call it muscle. There's enough muscle here to kind of get in your ass to say, get over it, we're family. I just want to remind us that the blood part of the family continues the generations. The blood part of the family continues that line of family that you come from. So when we're talking about moving your family forward, those legacies, not just your current generation, but 1, 2, 3 generations forward when we're long gone, then that's when you want to consider still, how do you keep that blood family intact? How does that move forward? Outside of that, definitely, I think everyone brought a unique perspective tonight that's welcomed for whatever you feel. If those listening, whatever you felt landed best for you, please take that on. With that being said, we thank everyone for showing up tonight. CBN, thank you for doing what you do in the back. Everyone else on the panel, thank you for being here tonight. We wish you well and peace and love.
We should have a part 2 for this. This is not going away. This is
right.
Yeah, this was a good one. This was a good one.
This was.
Good.
Can I say one thing before we end out?
Do. Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. Let me get that.
Oh Lord. Uh-oh.
I know it was you, Fredo. Y'all even let me finish the last part. Y'all gonna
All right. That was good. All right.
Okay, y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
And scene.
Right.
On that note, guys, good night.
Good night.
Tight. See y'all later.
All right. Be safe.